that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
That was cool. Thank you. Are we allowed to comment, bro? Are we allowed to comment, bro? Next item is student recognition. Of course, again, I'd like to give all a round of applause for that performance. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was looking to comment on. I just wanted to take the vocals aside, the amazing vocals aside. The confidence in which she picked up the mic and just attacked that song was unbelievable. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have some exciting things going on, and we're really excited to celebrate some of our students with the recognitions of the great accomplishments that our students have done throughout the year, both in athletics, in science, and research, and it's really an exciting night to be here for that. We're then going to do a little bit of around the district, just some goings on, and then we're going to get into a budget discussion where we're going to ask the board to be adopting the 25-26 school budget. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Director of Athletics, Dr. Ryan Cox, to the front of the stage.
Thank you, Dr. Floyd. Assist. All right, I am honored here to be here tonight. I want to thank the Board of Education, Dr. Ferris, our superintendent, our cabinet, our school community. I'm here blessed to acknowledge some of our individual highlights for the winter season. And before I do that, I'll do a quick summary of highlights for our varsity teams who had success this winter. Boys varsity basketball had a great year this year. They took second place in League 6. They were 8-6 in the league, 12-9 overall. They made the playoffs this year for the third time in a row, and they were also a scholar athlete team. Girls varsity basketball were 9-7 in League 5, 11-10 overall. They made the playoffs this year as well, and they were also a scholar athlete team. Boys bowling doesn't really keep standings, and they were a scholar athlete team. Phenomenal job by our bowlers. Boys fencing was also a New York State Public High School Athletic Association scholar athlete team. Along with our girls, also a scholar athlete team. Congratulations. Varsity boys swimming and diving, combined team with Bayport Blue Point. They were 500 on the season, 3-3 record in League 2, 3-5 overall, and they were also a scholar athlete team this year. Boys winter indoor track and field, scholar athlete team had a great season and doing a great job this spring right now. Girls varsity winter indoor track and field, league champions and a NISFA scholar athlete team. Congratulations to Coach Tuffy. Wrestling, Coach Pesco, Coach DiIorio, 6-0 this year in League 6. They were the League 6 dual meet champions and the League 6 tournament champions. That hasn't been done in quite some time. Coach Pesco, you can't hear me. It's been a long time since that happened, if ever. So congratulations to the scholar athlete team. Phenomenal. Very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. Unified Topgolf was our third season this year. I know Coach Morell is here. Coach Morell, can you take a stand up, please? Where are you? Here? I can see her. In the back. She's in the back. She doesn't want to stand. Coach Morell does a phenomenal job with our Unified Topgolf. We had athletes with and without intellectual disabilities compete at Topgolf for free under the Special Olympics, and it just is an incredible experience for our kids, and was another one this year. So congrats to them. This team we are recognizing this evening, what a season. Let's give a round of applause first before I get into it. What an experience following them from home while they were in Florida. 3 first-place finishes in the local co-ed division for our varsity cheer team. They were the UCA Regional Game Day champions. They were first place for Game Day at the Garden State Challenge in New Jersey. They made historic automatic advancement to the national finals for Game Day and traditional in Florida at Disney. That is quite an achievement. They were fifth in the country in small D2 co-ed Game Day division and 22nd in the nation in the small D2 traditional division. They also had 4 perfect routines and hit 0 deductions. Now think about this. They went to Florida on a plane, jet lag, and did all of this. Congratulations to that team. This is a common theme in Sayville, and really a credit to all of our teachers and staff, our parents, our community, and obviously our student athletes, our coaches. But again, all 10 winter varsity teams received Scholar Athlete recognition. All of our fall teams have received Scholar Athlete recognition. So we're on pace again to be recognized by the state as a school of distinction. So congratulations to all involved. Now with team accomplishments come individual accomplishments, and I'm here to recognize some of our individual accomplishments, followed by recognizing our varsity cheer team. We'll start out with a student athlete that I am so very impressed with, Scotland Peeler. This is historic. Girls wrestling is on the rise. It's one of the most, it's one of the sports in the country, along with girls flag football, that's really on the rise and taking over, so to speak. Scotty is the first girls wrestler in the history of Sayville schools to compete on a girls wrestling team, and not to mention she did very well. She took 4th in Suffolk County this year, the first time ever. So Scotland Peeler. Just a quick background, you'll see it says Bellport on her shirt up there. She does wrestle for Sayville. Bellport hosted, and it was a combined team of William Floyd, Bellport, Longwood, Bayport, Patchogue, Medford, and William Floyd. I said that. But there were 7 or 8 teams that were combined. They had several girls from each team. Scotty represented Sayville and represented well. Varsity girls, yes, another round of applause for that. Our varsity girls winter indoor track and field, we had several national qualifiers this year. In the New Balance indoor national qualifiers, which was held in Boston, we had the national qualifiers in the 800-meter run and the 4x1 mile relay. That's Ashlyn Beach and Christina Duffy. Joining them, national qualifier in the 4x1 mile relay, we have Mariana Duffy and Catherine Simovich. At the Nike Indoor National Qualifiers, that was at the Armory in New York City. We had national qualifiers in the 4x800 meter relay. They are Jordan Weber, Sophia Baffardi, Harley Brady, and Elizabeth Butrick. I'd also like to call up Coach Tom Duffy for the picture as well. Tom, congratulations on a great season. Varsity girls basketball. We had one of our girls basketball players, senior, achieve 1,000 points in her career. Not only is she a phenomenal athlete on the basketball court, but she's a phenomenal athlete on the field hockey field, girls like football, and literally whatever she chooses to do, she's good at. Ava Vadiak. I'd also like to thank Deborah Urso over there, who painted that ball for Ava Vadiak, our art chair. So thanks, Deb. And Ava, that's your ball to keep.
Where do you go, kid?
Congratulations. I love this picture, Leo. Varsity wrestling. Leo Mangiello. I believe it's one of the toughest sports that you can participate in. Leo was the Suffolk County champion in Division I at 145 pounds. He went up to the New York State Championships, and I was the honor and I was humbled to be able to watch him wrestle. Took 4th place for the 2nd year in a row. Was also a 2nd team All-on-Island selection. Truly a historic career for Leo. He will be missed. Senior, congratulations, Leo. And thank you to Coach Pesco, Coach D'Iorio for leading the charge with Leo and the rest of this group. Congratulations on a great season. Doesn't that look nice just about now? Palm trees in the background? Pretty nice, wouldn't it? Felt like it today, maybe. UCA, Game Day Regional Champions, 2 national bids for Game Day and Traditional, historic automatic advancement to national finals for Game Day and Traditional, 5th in the country, D2 Small Co-Ed Game Day, and 22nd in the nation for Small D2 Traditional. Really an incredible achievement for this team. We're going to call up our team. They're wearing matching shirts tonight, which I think is really cool. They're going to come up and stand. We're going to hold our applause till the end. And here we go. Juliana Ahern, Juliana Bentavegna, McKenna Broderick, Catherine Estagna, Ella Cifuentes, Elizabeth Holohan, Ariella Katomsky, Abigail Keel, Ella Laganegro, Courtney Malone, Brianna McBride, Emma McMulkin, Amber Paulowski, Joya Racanelli, Marithia Ruff, Sarah Stewart, Jalen Troll, Cassidy Von Eschen, Ryan Walker, Peyton Yannick, and our coaches, Coach Katie Ferremi and Victoria Herman. Congratulations. Congratulations again to all athletes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cox, and congratulations once again to all of our student athletes. I especially want to point out how unbelievable it is that every single team we've had is a scholar athlete team. And it's just an amazing accomplishment both as students and as athletes. So one more round of applause for all of us. And speaking of scholars, we have some elementary scholars we want to recognize as well. So I'd like to introduce our three elementary principals, Dr. Floyd, Mr. Armano, and Dr. Evans.
Good evening, everyone. It's definitely an exciting night for elementary school. When we call your name, will the following students please meet us by the podium? Molly Ryan, Logan Shea, Ella Moran, Kelson Kenny,
Carly Kochi, Mason Martello, Lila Jones, Devin Domingo,
Kinsley Hamill, Maddox Bermudez, Riley Franco, and Easton Moran.
These fine students who are representatives at the Town of Islip Sharpshooter competition that was held this past March. For the past 39 years, this program has helped students improve their basketball skills while promoting the benefits of physical activity as an alternative to drug and alcohol abuse. These students competed against their classmates and they earned the privilege to represent their school at the competition, which consisted of 40 schools participating. At Cherry Avenue, congratulations to our fourth grade representatives, Molly Ryan, Logan Shea, and fifth graders, Ella Moran, Kelson Kenny.
I'd like to say from Sunrise Drive, congratulations to our fifth graders, Kinsley Hamill and Maddox Bermudez, and our fourth graders, Riley Franco and Easton Moran. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give a little extra shout out. Easton Moran additionally placed first place amongst all fourth grade boys across the competition. Way to go.
At Lincoln Avenue, big congratulations to fourth grade Carly Kochi and Mason Martello, and fifth grade Lila Jones and Devin Domingo. So I'm very happy and very proud. Congratulations.
this point, the three schools, we would like to recognize our Suffolk Zone winners from each school. So I'd like to invite up to the podium with us from Sunrise Drive, Kinsley Hamill, and Philip Lepard.
And Kelson Kenny.
And from Lincoln Avenue, Alexa Charles and Brennan Monahan.
The Suffolk Zone chapter of the New York State Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance chooses to honor one young man and one young lady from our schools each year. These recipients make an outstanding effort to be cooperative, honest, poised, self-confident, attentive, industrious, and enthusiastic towards class activities. In addition, these students are always working to support the instructional efforts of the class. They are scholastically sound and have outstanding character. These students are leaders in class activities and demonstrate the ability to accept the responsibility for all regular class tasks. Congratulations to each of you.
Ella and Kelson were just mentioned before as being our 5th grade sharpshooter winners. So congratulations again. Cherry Avenue. We have quite fabulous scientists there. It's my pleasure to recognize the following 6 students. I will have them come up, read about each of their projects, and then they will go on stage for a photo. So if you could please hold your applause until we talk about each student, that would be very helpful. Silas DeVore, Kalani Capolini, Maximus Krepola, Mason DeVore, Emelina Howick, and Riley Hodak Miranda. Starting in kindergarten, Silas DeVore, his project entitled, "Why Do People Float in the Dead Sea?" Silas designed an experiment to explore why objects float so easily in the Dead Sea by testing how varying salt levels affect buoyancy. He found that the more salt in the water, the better the object floated. Congratulations, Silas. Next, moving on to first grade, our first place winner, Kalani Capolini, her project entitled, "What Happens When You Get Near a Black Hole?" Kalani explored the concepts of mass and gravity by conducting an experiment to investigate what happens to objects near a black hole. She found that when you put a dense object at the center of the black hole, all of the surrounding objects were pulled toward the center. Great work, Kalani. Now, Maximus did a little bit of an engineering project. His project, building a metal detector. Using an AM/FM radio and calculator, Maximus put his engineering skills to the test and built a working metal detector. This took several trials. Talk about perseverance and stamina. It took 3 times, that was the charm. Once he moved from solar-powered calculators to battery-operated, that did the trick. Awesome, good job, Mason. Third grader, Mason before Harry Houdini's deadly trick. By studying the accidental death of magician Harry Houdini, Mason discovered smart ways to secretly protect the body from unexpected punches. He found that while the cardboard box was very successful, it would be difficult to hide, so the soft blanket would be the best options for softening the blow and to keep secret. Great job, Mason. Emma's project is the Farmer's Almanac Accurate. Emma, I look at this every year. I pray for snow days. So let's see what it says. To see if the Farmer's Almanac lives up to its reputation, Emma ran an experiment to evaluate how accurate the weather predictions really are. Her findings showed that the almanac was correct approximately 50% of the time. Good job, Emma. Fifth grader Riley Hodak Miranda, her project entitled Thermotherapy. She was frustrated by how quickly berries spoiled. Riley ran an experiment to see if thermotherapy, rinsing them in very hot water, could help them stay fresh longer. She found that the berries submerged in the hot water at 125 degrees for 30 seconds lasted longer, and 1 minute was even better. And I have to tell you, Riley, I always find that the berries that I buy, I'm so frustrated. I tried that and it really works. So thank you for doing that research for us. Congratulations all.
Science Fair is a great opportunity to remind us how alive and well Steve is here at Sayville. And one of my favorite parts is that this is an opportunity for our youngest minds in the district to teach us something new. So I'd like to invite six Sunrise Drive teachers, scientists, up to the podium, please. Ryan Petrosino, come on down, please. John Jansen, Grace Schmija, Christian Gallo, Kira Zbinetsky, and Morgan Prosh. Come on down, Sunrise Drive. All right, I think we're missing a few, but we're still, hopefully they're watching from home, and I'd like to sing their praise. Ryan Petrosino, who's not here with us tonight, he did an experiment on explosive experiments. So we would all think that it would be what would create the most foam. You go right to baking soda and vinegar. But what Ryan found out is it's actually when you utilize elephant toothpaste. Who would have thought? Makes the most foam. So congratulations to our kindergarten winner, Ryan. John Jansen did a lesson on electromagnetic avenue and was trying to figure out how do you make your electromagnet a little stronger. And what he simply found out and taught me is that the more coils that you wrap around the item, it will create a stronger magnet. So congratulations, John. Thanks for teaching me that. Okay, Grace, who is here. Now, Grace solved the problem for us all because who here loves the beach? Come on, show of hands. Who here loves when the seagulls come and take all your food? No hands. So what Grace figured out, bye-bye birdie, how to keep seagulls away, was that the simple use of pinwheels around your blanket made a huge difference. Way to go, Grace. Christian, this one hit home. I'm not going to lie. There's some age brackets here. Christian did the mystery of memory and took a look at which group, in terms of age, had the best opportunity or was best at remembering what took place when it comes to memory. You're sure about this, right? Okay. It's the under 30 group. Congratulations, Christian, for teaching us something that we were all hoping wasn't true, but thank you. Kira Zbinetsky, not here tonight, but a 4th grade winner, took a look at how naturally we could prevent erosion. And she planted a couple of different plants, and what she found out was simple ivy was one of the best plants that could naturally be added to prevent erosion at our shores. Wonderful, great job, Kira. And Morgan Prasha, our 5th grade winner, Morgan had a unique take. This was a part 2 to a science fair project from last year, and I hope I'm getting this right. Unfortunately, Morgan's dog went blind a couple of years ago. And Morgan's first project last year was to see if his dog's sense of smell could determine where food was or a certain location of items. Am I right? Okay. The second year, he revisited this project and put the sense of time into play. Now his dog's been blind for a year. How did that sense of smell change? And it was heightened. He smelled better. Isn't that amazing? So well done, Morgan. Projects will be on display at Brookhaven National Lab in June. Bring us home a banner and one for yourselves as well. Congratulations. Why don't you go get your picture?
You know, it's funny because the best part of our jobs, mine, principals, teachers, educators, Board of Ed, cabinet, is honoring our students. And it really is amazing when you look at some of the work that they do. And as I was reading through these science fair projects and going through our science fair, I realized I was definitely not a good scientist at all. And our students did a much better project. I remember when I was in 3rd grade, my science fair project was which French fries are better. I I personally think it's McDonald's, but that was not the case when you grew up in Deer Park. On Deer Park Avenue, it was Checkers. So, we're actually going to talk a little bit about the scientific research of our wonderful students at Lincoln Avenue, and I'm so excited and so proud to honor them tonight. So I'm going to call them up, and then we're going to go through their project. So in kindergarten, we have Athena Corso, first grade, Brogan Arm, second grade, Drew Kochi, third grade, Francisca Corso, fourth grade, Juliana Blanco, and fifth grade, Karnika Ungaturo. So in kindergarten, Athena did a project titled "Don't Wake a Sleeping Baby," which I found very interesting, and I wish I would have had this project about 3 years ago when my son was a baby. But her objective was she wanted to observe if her 1-year-old baby brother took longer naps when he sleeps with white noise. And like I said, I found this very interesting. And in conclusion, she found that her baby brother did take longer naps with wave sounds, and the nap average times were longer. And I'm wondering if there was a trick there so she got more playtime or maybe some more time to hang out. So for those that have sleeping babies at home, let's put on some white noise. So big thank you and congratulations. In first grade, Brogan's science fair project was foam hand soap versus liquid hand soap. So the objective was to see which hand soap cleans hands better, foam or liquid. And I was actually surprised because originally I thought that the foam was better, but it turns out that the liquid is. So I was surprised, and now I'm gonna stop in Walgreens on the way home and change my soap. So thank you, Brogan. Second grade, Drew's project was "Can You Read Me Now?" And the objective was wanting to know how powerful the RFID cards are and what materials can it read through. Again, very interesting. The conclusion was that the RFID card can read through mittens, paper towels. We learned that the card can be used to transmit data like credit cards. Very interesting. Big round of applause for Drew. Frankie's project in third grade, I love the name of this project. It's called Plantastic. The objective was to observe differences in plant growth using water of different pH levels. And we found out that plants watered with water at a neutral pH of 7 survive the longest. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Frankie. Fourth grade, Julianne, her title of her project was "Beware of Skincare Testers." The objective of the project was, are skincare testers safe to use, or do they contain bacteria and germs from people's dirty hands? And the conclusion was that her hypothesis was correct. The skincare test samples were full of bacteria due to the germs from the many people. She also goes on to say they are unsafe because they can cause illness. So thank you, Julianne. And finally, fifth grade, Karnika. The title of her project was Automatic Plant Watering System. So the objective was she wanted to build an automatic plant watering system that can water the plants when they need it based on soil moisture levels. Now, I found this really fascinating because I'm always wondering, when should I turn my sprinklers on? When should I water my plants? So I found this very interesting. And the conclusion was that her project worked out successfully because she demonstrated that an automatic plant watering system would indeed protect the plants by optimally watering them only when they need it. In addition to that, it also saves water waste. So that was amazing. So thank you for that. And thank you. I wish them the best of luck at Brookhaven Science Lab. Go ahead. One more time for our Lincoln Avenue scientists. I also have the honor of presenting some of our PTA reflection winners. So we're going to follow similar protocol. I'm going to call the students up to come to the front, and then I'm going to go through a couple slides and talk about their winnings and what they did. So we have a round of applause for Brogan Arn and Christopher C.J. Merlo. Eliana Backus and Sophia Palachi. Reagan Britz, Layla Custaro, and Avery Moret. Come on up. It's okay. Blake Pintar, Cody Richter, and Penelope Ray Rasmussen. Drew Rochi, Emerson Wade, and Olivia Matheson. Some of my friends here seem to be a little nervous, so get a big round of applause for them. What they don't understand is I'm petrified right now. So if you're nervous, just look at me. You guys are fine. There's that smile. All right. So the Lincoln Avenue PTA Reflections Program is a showcase of our creatively talented students. There are 21 students who participate in the program school-wide, K to 5. The program is broken up into 3 sections for all grades. K to 2 is primary, 3 to 5 is intermediate, and for the accessible arts, all grades were welcome to participate. The projects are in one of 6 categories, including dance choreography, film production, literature, music composition, photography, and/or visual arts. Judges from our community anonymously reviewed and scored the creative projects from the Lincoln Avenue students. These judges then provided the results to the Reflections Chair, Maria Day. The winners from the school were then submitted to the Suffolk County PTA Reflections Chair. Judges review and score those entries, and those winners are entered into the New York State Reflections program. If they are successful candidates in that round, the winners would then proceed on to nationals. We are here tonight to celebrate and acknowledge the 14 school-level winners. 5 of those 14 were Suffolk County PTA Reflection winners. One of those 5, 3 earned awards of merit from the New York State PTA Reflections program. And just a huge congratulations to all of our Lincoln Avenue PTA Reflections winners. The 2 students on this slide entered the Lincoln Avenue PTA Reflections dance category. Avery, in 4th grade, entered as an intermediate. Avery chose to dance the fight song because every day she chooses to fight for good grades, be athletic, and a good friend and person. Avery fights to be the perfect all-around person. Avery has the wherewithal to understand that perfect isn't always best and that she doesn't need to be all of those things. She's happy doing cartwheels. Avery is recognized as both a Lincoln Avenue PTA and a Suffolk County PTA Reflections winner. Reagan, in grade 1, entered in the primary category. Reagan chose the dance to Brave by Sarah Bareilles. Reagan choreographed her own dance. When Reagan dances, she never gives up. She knows that she will not always be the best, but will never give up and will always be brave. Reagan will never quit dancing. Drew, in 2nd grade, entered in the primary literature category. Drew wrote a poem entitled Be You. Drew says that you should accept who you are and love everything about yourself. Drew was awarded the Lincoln Avenue PTA and Suffolk PTA Reflections Winner Awards, as well as an Award of Merit by New York State PTA. Blake, in first grade, entered the Reflections Primary Music Composition category. Blake sang a cappella, Have Your Own Sunshine. Blake wants you to feel like you are relaxing by the sun. Her song is about trying again and feeling yourself. If trying again doesn't work, say kind words and believe in yourself. Blake was awarded the Lincoln Avenue PTA and Suffolk PTA Reflection Winner Awards, as well as an Award of Merit by the New York State PTA. Cody, in third grade, entered the Intermediate Music Composition category. Cody composed the song A Perfect Mess and was accompanied by her music teacher. The meaning of her song is that having imperfections is okay because everyone has them. Everyone is different, and that is what makes people special. Cody was awarded both the Lincoln Avenue PTA and the Suffolk PTA Reflections Winner Awards, as well as an Award of Merit by the New York State PTA. A round of applause. This slide illustrates the Lincoln Avenue PTA Winner Awards in Visual Arts. Eliana in grade 3 entered as an intermediate. Eliana created 2 8-hexagon canvas artworks entitled The Reflection. She reminds us that no one is perfect, but everyone is perfect in their own way. Sophia in 5th grade also entered as an intermediate. Sophia created a pencil and marker canvas artwork. Sophia lets us know even though something isn't perfect, it can still be beautiful. Big round of applause for those. The next 2 entries are part of the primary category. Brogan is in the 1st grade. Brogan created an 8x12 drawing of the 3-footed iguana. He used a video to show him how to draw an iguana with no other aids. On a trip to Aruba, Brogan observed the lizard missing its foot and felt sad. The lizard appeared to not be bothered by the missing foot and looked happy while playing with the other lizards. CJ Merlo is also in 1st grade. CJ created an artwork on construction paper with cutouts. CJ's papa took him to the softball game where the players had different kinds of arms and legs because they lost them during the war. Even though they were different, they were just like us. So a very big round of applause. Emerson in 4th grade entered the intermediate literature and photography categories. Emerson is seen here with acupuncture she takes for her migraines. She took this picture of herself. She knows that she is not perfect. She has gotten headaches since she was 4 years old. Emerson wanted to share her story with everyone, and so she decided to take this selfie. Whenever she gets migraines, she acknowledges that she is not perfect, and that is okay. Everyone has some imperfections. Emerson tries to accept her imperfections every day. Big round of applause for Emerson. Penelope in 3rd grade entered the intermediate music composition category. Penny composed the song, I Love My Imperfections. Everyone has a few imperfections, and so do the music sometimes, but she loves them anyway. So a round of applause for Penny. Layla in 4th grade entered the intermediate dance choreography category. Layla danced to Defying Gravity by the original 2003 Wicked soundtrack. The dance allowed Layla to understand that no one is perfect and we all have things we need to work on from the past and in the near future. Layla was happy to enter the contest to show it to herself and the world what she is capable of. Round of applause. Olivia in 4th grade entered the Accessible Arts Division for photography. Olivia took a picture of the tomatoes from her garden to illustrate that everyone is different. When the tomatoes are in season, she picks them every day. They come in different sizes. Some are big, squishy, small, or medium. Olivia thinks they are all perfect, even though they're different. So a big round of applause. In closing, I want to thank all 21 entries to the Lincoln Avenue PTA Reflections program. We hope that all of you enjoyed the process and hope to see you and your classmates enter the program in the 25-26 school year. And one of the things I also just want to add is, I don't know if you noticed it, but there was a theme. And the theme was that we're all different, and that's okay. And I think that's amazing. And I want to give a huge round of applause to our students at Lincoln Avenue because they truly are celebrating themselves. I apologize. I think in the first slide I said she danced to the song Brave, but it was actually Roar. My apologies. See, I was nervous. Congratulations again.
What a group of outstanding artists. I am Deborah Urso, the art department chairperson at the high school, and I do want to say how incredibly proud I am of all the students that are up here. I wear many hats in this district. I coach in this district, I teach in this district, and I'm also a chair. And I am so proud to be a part of your community. So I just want to say thank you. And I also want to recognize 6 amazing artists. So I'd like to call up Jacob Shaw, Parnika Mbuturo, Lincoln Lewis, Zachary Helbach, Gabriella Duffy, and Abigail Duplessis. In so many ways, the art room is a community. Our amazing art teachers pride themselves on the fact that through art class, we provide a safe space for our students where they can feel comfortable and free to express themselves. The culture created in our art rooms are in line with the philosophy of our elementary buildings and place value on a student-centered, engaging community where resilience is fostered and all welcome, seen, heard, respected, and valued. The art room is filled with many different learners and personalities with one common goal of being resilient, creative problem solvers. The teachers can set the tone for this community feel, but it is each student member that makes it happen. These 6 talented elementary artists were selected by their art teachers because each day they help create a joyful, collaborative environment for those around them, with a warm smile, a kind word of encouragement, and respect for others. They demonstrate outstanding citizenship, being great role models for their peers, and most importantly, help foster a safe and fun environment for all of their classmates. I know with students like you guys, that the art department will have an extremely bright future. So I would like to proudly congratulate Jacob Shaw, Kanika Ungaturo, Lincoln Lewis, Zachary Helbach, Gabriella Duffy, and Abigail Duplessis for being outstanding teachers.
Okay, that wraps up our celebratory portion of the evening. We want to thank all of our students and staff for what is an amazing example of the work that we do both academically, instructionally, and athletically. If you're a young child and you need to get home for bed, now is the time to do so, or if you have homework, get to, and then we're going to go right into the budget portion of our meeting. Mr. Natos, we're going to go right to the budget. We're going to skip that. If you're in the back and you'd like to come up, there's plenty of room in the front.
If you could scoot away, come reach your 50, we'll try to reach your 50. The only problem is I have something to give with something dealing with school. I mean, I could try to
Okay. All right, 2 weeks ago, we presented a plan to the Board of Education regarding the school budget. We spent the last 2 weeks revising that plan, and we're now putting forward today a presentation to propose to the board to adopt. As you know, it's been a challenging budget season, but if you look at the great things that you saw just moments ago, those are the things that make up Sayville and who we are and what we are. And that's amazing students, amazing staff, amazing community. Those kids are just an example of the great work that goes on in our schools and the kind of work that our budget supports. And we want to continue that through and through for years to come. So our programs, and just a couple of updates. Our central office team heard you guys loud and clear at the last meeting. We've been thinking about that prior to that meeting, but we really wanted to, talk louder. We really want to express that Ms. Mignola, Ms. Macris, and myself will be taking a pay freeze for next year to help with supporting and moving that funding into staffing for teachers. We wanted you to be aware of that. That's about a $19,000 savings total. We also met with the SASA group. That's a union for the administrators. We have 12 building level administrators and directors in the district. And they came to us and said, we want to be part of a solution. We care deeply about our schools. We want to help with this. So they agreed to take a 0% increase for the upcoming school year. And that allows us to get $50,000 back into teacher codes for teaching staff. And I just want to thank the SASA group for caring so much about the district and for taking that up. That's very unique. Most unions don't decide to just do that. And I want to just recognize our SASA group for doing that. As many of you know, we'll be looking for a new business official, and we've kind of talked with the board about the idea of going for an interim business official, someone who has much experience in the field of education and finance in the educational world. We're looking for someone with over 20 years of experience who's recently retired to come back and support us as we move forward with budget planning and finances. We have not identified a particular person, but we are going to be putting that out and looking to do that in the very near future. In this part of the year, finding a qualified business official for a permanent position in the long term is just not a great option. There's not a lot of great candidates out there, so we want to look for somebody who will be with us temporarily to kind of make sure we're solid moving forward for the next school year. That, though, would save us about $50,000 because an interim would just be a daily rate. It would not incur the benefits and other things that the business official would require if you did a permanent spot. So we're going to take all of this funding and kind of put it towards staffing for the schools so that we can rebuild some of the things that we're talking about. So what that allows us to do in conjunction with other things we've kind of rearranged is we will have an elementary world language program in grades 1 through 5 next year. The building principals will be working together with the language department to determine what that will look like and how it will be supported. But we're very happy to restore that program. We feel it's a good part of our schools and we want to continue that. We also talked with the language department about a deficiency that we've had for years in 7th grade language, which is that we're one of the only school districts in the area and very few on Long Island that has language every other day in 7th grade. And that puts our students at a disadvantage heading into 8th grade for the class exams and so forth. So as part of our restoration of world language, we're looking at grades 1 to 5 and also have your daily language program in the middle school for 7th grade so that we have a solid program that is very much aligned with other districts of our California. We also are going to be restoring one math IAS position for the elementary schools. And we will now have 5 elementary math IAS teachers for the district instead of the 4 that we had proposed. And that will help significantly, and I'll show how in an upcoming slide. That also allows us to bring back 1 teacher who is excess in the elementary pool. So we're very happy about that as well. There's no scenarios where we feel good about or want to be excess in any teachers. I want to make that very clear. We care deeply about our teachers, and we want to do everything we can to hold on to as many teachers as possible. All high school and middle school programming and class sizes are fully supported. That was in the last presentation, and that continues to be the case. All music, art, athletics, extracurricular activities are fully supported. And what I mean by that is that the programs, as we have them, will continue to exist. That doesn't mean all staffing will be part of that in this plan, but it does mean that every program that exists, every course at the high school, middle school, every group that we have, every program will continue to exist in this plan. All elementary art, music, library, PE, stretch, and STEAM classes are fully supported in this budget. And these are programs we're really proud of, and we want to continue to support. Our pre-K program remains fully supported with 8 sections running across 3 elementary schools. We do get funding for pre-K, but we also pay for pre-K as well. But it is essential that we have a solid pre-K program because we believe that if you get early intervention and eyes on students at an early age, you can support those students in being robust, successful students. Regarding reductions, these are areas we are reducing. There is 4 reductions at the elementary staffing level. Class size in grade 2, we've talked about this, has been 14, 15, and 16 students in a class. We can't financially support those low class sizes. I wish it could be 20 and not 14, and I don't wish it was 23 or 24, but when you take away 1 teacher from each section in each building, you end up with class sizes of 23 to 24 per class in the 2nd grade with 1 class of 25. And then grade 1 at Sunrise Drive currently has 15 to 16 students in a class, and now they will have 23 students in each class. And again, I wish that it could be closer to 20, but this is where we are financially and where we are making this decision. Also, the average elementary class size overall still remains at 20.73, and obviously we know there's no such thing as average. That's just a number that summarizes mathematically, but truly we have 21s, we have 18s, we have 19s, we have 23s, so it's an average. In terms of staff reductions due to enrollment, as I had mentioned in earlier meetings, our enrollment continues to go down slightly each year. We are leveling off, but it is hitting the middle school and the high school. It has hit the middle school and is heading into the lower enrollments into the high school. So we are able to offer the same programming, but maybe not as many sections, which is why we are down teachers, even though we're not cutting programming. So those staff reductions are due to lower enrollment, include the 1 music teacher, the 0.6 art teacher, and the 0.6 speech teacher. Again, that's based on need for speech, that's based on art needs, and that's based on music needs across the district. And that we're not cutting art programming. All the courses that we offer in art is absolutely the same. All the courses we offer in music is absolutely the same. And all the speech services for those students who need it are going to get it. It's just a matter of the numbers and what they have. Elementary school math AS, we are reducing math AS by 1 FTE and not the 2 that we had originally said. We have 5 math AS teachers across the 3 elementary schools now to provide support for math AS for students. We did reduce building administration, as I had mentioned 2 meetings ago, but did not mention in the last meeting, but we are not included in this budget of the assistant principal at Lincoln Avenue. And we are reducing central office administration, the assistant superintendent for human resources position, and 1 HR clerical was replaced and will continue to be replaced by 1 civil service human resources officer for a significant cost savings to the district. So we did reduce 1 administrator at the central office and 1 at the building. Regarding reductions in terms of summer school, I want to clarify so everyone understands the programs that we offer in the summer. We will continue to offer the summer research, summer AP, the extended school year program, which is run through the special education department. All those summer programs will run. But what we were looking at is our credit recovery program for students at the high school who would maybe fail a course and need to get the credit, say in earth science or algebra or geometry. And what we looked at is that we have 60 students currently coming from outside of the district into our program, and about 21 to 31 students that are our students. So other districts are coming to our district, they pay a fee to participate, and it costs us about $100,000 to run, but we only get about $10,000 to $15,000 in revenue from those outside students. So for those students who fail a course, it's nice to be able to come to Sayville and to have that course take place here, but other districts of our size don't run those kinds of programs, and our students can get credit recovery in other ways. So we're exploring the option for students to go to a local district nearby, or to get credit recovery through an online program, and that would save us $100,000 in cost, minus the 10 to 15 in revenue. So that allowed us to bring back one of the world language positions by not running that program. But every single student who fails a class at the high school will have an opportunity to go get that credit, either through a credit recovery course program at another school district, or through an online possibility that we're exploring. I did want to talk about the elementary music lessons at the elementary schools. I said there was an average of 5, and as I said earlier, averages don't ever work out that everyone gets 5. Depending on the instruments, it might be different numbers based on the instrumentation. I asked the music department to put this together for me, so I want to thank you guys for doing that. And it basically is an estimate, it's not the actuals. We know the 5th grade band next year because we know what instruments the 4th graders are playing. We don't know what the incoming 4th graders are going to play, but we can kind of predict because it's pretty similar each year. So you can see there are some lesson groups of 3, 4, 2, but there are also groups of 7 and 9. One of the things that is important in music education is to keep the same instrument in the group, and we want to try to do that. There are 2 areas or 3 that don't do that in this current plan, and then there are groups that are getting to be like 10 or 9, and we don't want to see that. So I am committed to working with the music department to reduce in about 7 areas, or split those lesson groups so that they become 4s, 5s, and to do that, you need about 8 more lessons, which is the equivalent of a 0.2 FTE, or 20% of the teacher. So we would look at that, or we would look at using existing staff to pick up some lessons to make these numbers smaller. So I just wanted to acknowledge that was fair points made by people in the last meeting 2 weeks ago, and it's something we would address to make sure that care of those bigger numbers. In terms of AIS math support, in the previous plan with only 4, we would continue to provide all students in tier 2 and 3, those are students who are identified as needing math support, with pull-out services. And push-ins would have been minimized, and we didn't like that. We like a push-in model in addition to a pull-out model for mathematics. We also had group sizes would probably get a little larger, and we don't want to see that either. And Math AS teachers would no longer be used for coverage during the pre-K snack. They do that, they go into the pre-K, they do math games, it's a really nice thing that happens, but it wouldn't be able to happen under that situation. And 4.0 FTE would necessitate a break in continuity between who's getting the service from one provider versus another. And we didn't want to see that. So when we met with the elementary principals, we talked about the possibility of restoring that extra position. We said that that would improve things quite a bit. So it restores Math AS staffing to approximately 1.6 to 1.7 FTE in each building, where it was 2.0. All tier 2 and 3 identified students would continue to receive pull-out and push-in services, and we like that. We want that. Tier 1 students would continue to benefit from the push-ins due to small group instructional model. There would be a priority on maintaining at least 1 push-in a week in classes that are currently served. If any groups may increase, it would only be by 1 or 2 students. Math AS teachers would still not go into the pre-K, but they would continue to push into the K through 5. And the 5.0 FT would allow for greater flexibility in scheduling, prioritizing contact. So the same teacher would see the same kids for their push-in and their pull-out, because that was important to the teachers and to the principals. So this is just kind of illustrating how by adding back that 1 Math AS teacher, it creates and fills out a more robust program for us. And now I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Messerol, who's going to go over the budget numbers.
Thank you, Dr. Ferris. Need an extra hand tonight. Okay, so here we have the proposed budget for 2025-2026. It remains unchanged. I know we have made some reclassifications within the budget, but the proposed budget for 2025-2026 remains at the $105,676,793, which is a decrease over the 2024-2025 year of $351,838, or 0.33%. And the projected tax levy increase is at $1,527,272, or 2.317%. That is based upon the tax cap calculation. I just want to highlight here that if someone is comparing the adopted 2024-25 budget with the 2025-2026 budget, you see that the tax levy change is 2.20%. So as I've explained in previous presentations, when you calculate the tax cap, you have to start with the prior tax levy, and if that has been revised through the town, which we find out in November, that's the number you need to start with. So that is why it calculates to 2.317%, and it's not the 2.20 that you may see in another slide. So here is just, again, the history for the last several years of what the tax cap calculation was and what the actual tax levy percentage was. There were 2 years where we have gone below that. The first of the chart in 2020-2021, and then again last year, we had gone below the maximum allowable tax levy percentage. And as I always repeat, our residents vote on the district's tax levy, not the tax rate. That is guided by the assessed valuations of each person's property through the town. Here is the revenue side of the budget. With the categories. The state aid at the top for 2025-2026 is again still the governor's executive budget. They have not moved with regard to the legislative budget or adopted, so that is what we are presenting for the Board of Ed to include in this adopted budget. Next is our pilot. Again, that's one property, the Bristol, which I've discussed in previous presentations. There was a change to the assessed value that was challenged by the Bristol and accepted by the town of Islip. Then we have the other revenues, which is detailed here. The biggest are interest income. We derive good interest because we utilize appropriate investments. One of them being night class, which was added in 23, 24, and that gets those rates are very good. Down below, we have all of our appropriated reserves. Each of them are used in accordance with what that reserve allows. And our appropriated fund balance, what we're committing towards the 2025-26 budget is the 2.9 million. And our property taxes at the 67,454,710. And again, that is the 2.2 when you compare it with the adopted budget of 2024-2025. And on the right-hand side, this is just an estimate based on the tax levy that we put forth and the values that have been provided for the 24-25 year. We don't know what they are yet for 2025-26. The tax levy is actually set at the end of August, September, so that information comes later on. This is a pie chart of the categories of our revenue budget. Again, has remained unchanged with regard to the different categories. Obviously, property taxes is the largest percentage, state aid coming in behind that, and then the other income. This is our expenditure budget, again in major categories. This has not changed. It's been reclassified, but pretty much the reclassifications have occurred within the salaries. So in total, the salaries are the same. They're just broken out differently between the three-part component budget. We have the salaries, the largest expenditure, then employee benefits, which is associated, and that the salaries are for both certified and non-certified employees. And this slide is a little hard to read with regard to the color I've chosen, but my apologies. And then next we have our debt service, our contractual expenditures, BOCES, which is another major category. We do derive state aid, that is part of our executive budget, and the expenditure-driven aids. And then we have the transfers, transportation, that is our new contract with Suffolk Transportation, and the transfers to our capital fund, which is for our high school and middle school bathroom renovation projects, 4 in each building. That will round up, we've completed the elementary buildings, so now we're moving to the secondary buildings. And then equipment at the end is just a very little, but, and then the total here. Again, these slides will be on the website. They also are shared as part of our board docs and agenda, but they will be on the website for you to peruse again. This is a pie chart of the categories of our expenditures, just another way to look at it. Again, the largest piece being our salaries and benefits. Here is the three-part component budget summary, and this encompasses the changes that have been made since the last budget presentation that Dr. Ferris shared with you earlier. So it shows the three-part component budget, which is required, and comparatively with the 2024-25 year, and you can see this. The administrative is 3.99, program 0.06, and then the capital is a delta of minus 4.10. Just to expand a little more on what comprises the administrative budget, we have our salaries here, and this is where you're going to see the differences if you compare this same slide with the last presentation. The salaries have been reduced 1.74%, moved to our program component budget. Employee benefits come with that.
I wanted to just interject, when we talk about salaries, that is not just administrators, it's administrators plus all of the people who support administrators, so clericals, so there's instructional budget, and that's teachers, there's non-instructional like custodians, and then there's the administrators. So I just want to make it clear that that number represents not just the 12 SAS administrators or the central office administrators, it also includes all of the clericals and support staff that supports those people, which is many people.
Yes, in each of our buildings and central office. Yeah, our custodials, that's part of our capital component budget, and obviously our teachers and those support staff members are part of our program budget. So as I had shared, if you look at just the unallocated insurance, which is all of our insurances and our BOE services, that alone represents 75% of our administrative budget. And then we have our contractual, all of our auditors, internal, external claims auditor, and our attorneys, both labor counsel and general counsel that supports the Board of Ed. This is a breakout of just the administrative portion of the three component budget. We are just highlighting some of the new services that we added actually in partially to the 2024-25 year. We had, and I mentioned this at the last meeting as well, we moved from head of security to covert security management. This is a BOE service for just our head of security. And the cost of that is $122,000. We've estimated what the state aid they have, because these are new services. I have not gotten that information yet, but we estimated about 50%. It ranges anywhere from 40 to upwards of maybe 59%. So we went with 50 just for an explanation here. And then what our previous in-person employee was paid, and then the potential savings net of the state aid.
I just want to.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. So the COVID security management, that I understand the numbers, but I know that they also offer us like a wide variety of like a la carte services.
Yeah.
Is that in that number?
Yeah, so let me explain. So what we get with a company that's outsourced is far greater than any individual because they provide a team of people. So not only do we have a head of security who manages our security, their management team, and they have different specialties. So for example, we had a training on Superintendent's Conference Day, and they had different people come in and train our aides, and that was part of the deal. Also, they did a security audit, which, if we paid for that as an outside thing, would be maybe $20,000. That was part of the 122 you see on the screen. And they gave us, and we're going to be talking about this in June, when we meet to talk about security again, a plethora of areas that they want to recommend for improvements and have already begun to do those things. So with a management firm, you get a team of people and a range of services. There are additional things you can pay for, but they come with trainings for staff, for faculty meetings. We do stop the bleed training, first aid and CPR they offered. They also offered, what was the title of that last one? Yeah, nonviolent crisis intervention, which we provide to staff, and also, intruder, like what do you do when there's an intruder in the building, and how do you deal with that? So that level of training all comes with that cost. So not only is it a head of security management, but it also provides less funding, a greater amount of service. And the same is true of our ZE Communications. If you've noticed, we've been in News 12 and in the paper a lot more in the last month because they have connections with those organizations. So when our schools do great things at the high school, at the elementary schools, or the middle school, it gets celebrated more. And again, you can see that one individual can have one skill set, but when you hire a firm, they have multiple skill sets, and the cost savings there is actually better, so you get less cost and you get greater service.
Can I jump in here? I mean, one of the important reasons why there's so much value for those two specifically, a PR firm and a security firm, is those extra services and additional attention and higher specialized, a lot of those funds are aidable. So we're able to access state funds because they actually are maintained, they're part of the vendors listed. So we're getting a much higher quality than we could ever afford.
Yeah, and that's why if you look at the right-hand column, that's the potential savings. Now, we put an asterisk there because we're waiting for the exact numbers, but it could be between, as Ms. Mesro said, what would you say, 40 to 60%. And so we're looking for the final numbers there, but the potential savings is pretty much there.
Yeah, so, more for our money. This is the three-component budget in a pie chart, and then it just explains a little more about what is part of each component budget. And our BOCES administrative services are part of administrative, and a lot of those our insurances, those are the big pieces. And then everything that supports our students and their learning is part of the program, which obviously is the largest piece of the pie here. And then capital is everything to do with our debt service and our buildings and repair and maintenance and custodial staff. So what happens if the budget fails? Key elements of the law that the Board of Ed is able to either put up the same budget, a revised budget, or go straight to a contingent budget. And that a revote would take place on June 17, 2025. That's the third Tuesday. That again is the same statewide kind of a date, similarly to our May date for the budget vote and board elections. If the budget fails twice, the board must adopt a contingent budget with a 0% increase on the current year's tax levy. So what does this mean here? There's a second part to the contingency spending limits, and that has to do with the administrative budget cap. So you need to take just the administrative budget component piece along with the program, add them together, and they can't be more than the prior year's percentage. So last year that was calculated at 11.53. When we calculated it for the 25-26 year, that calculated to 11.91. So the most our administrative budget cap can be is 11.53% of the total of those two pieces together. So that would mean that it's not just a tax levy that would have to be cut. It is a little bit more than that. So it would be $1,573,103. And that is where the budget would have to be reduced in each of those three areas to get to that. And it means removing any equipment, any renovations, construction projects, no community use of our facilities, and just areas, largely equipment and some non-contingent items. So after this evening, within 24 hours, we are to file the property tax report card. This is on the next two, it's this screen and two other slides. This is pretty much regarding our levy comparatively to 2024-25. And this is filed with New York State. The next piece of that, it's just a very long form, has to do with our fund balance and reserves. And the actual 2024-25 amounts for each of those lines agrees with our audited financial statements as of July 1, 2024. So that is our beginning numbers for each of those. Our total reserves are unappropriated fund balance. And then for 2025-26, that is what we're projecting at this moment. We start doing fund balance projections after 6 months of our fiscal year. It's just easier to, some expenses are halfway point, some are more front-loaded, some are evenly throughout the year. So that is done routinely from December, January, February, and updated. And this was done just recently again, and this, we're projecting that we would be coming under the 4% amount at the 3.8%. And here, this is where we stand with each of the reserves. They want you to report what that is as of March 31st, and then what it is, what you project at June 30th, and then what are you using of your reserves to fund your 2025-26 budget. And that's the far right column. So we will be presenting this budget again to different groups. I know a lot of PTAs have heard some of this information previously. Our Civic Association, we need to reach out to them in May, and we will present it to them. And then May 13th is our next meeting, which will be a budget hearing. And then May 20th, the annual board election. So thank you, Board of Ed, and our community for your support.
Okay, just before we have any comments on the budget, I would just like to go through the, one second, correspondence. We had some items, several emails regarding the budget and any cuts in the budget. And we also had an email regarding the superintendent.
And we had an email regarding the special education program.
Hold on a second. Now, one second. Okay, under board discussion, we also have to go over the upcoming training opportunities on May 7th. This is NISBA live virtual policy seminar at 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. It will be recorded. And then there's the claims order report. Does anybody have any comments on the claims order report? Okay, everything seems to be in order with that. Is there now any other comments regarding the budget?
I just had a question, or actually just a clarification. I was wondering if either Rhonda or Mark could touch upon the information about the miscalculation.
The tax levy?
For the preschool.
For the UPK? Oh, so that was included both in the revenue and expenditure side erroneously for the 2024-25 year, and it's been removed. Yes.
I just have a quick question about the math AIS. So we restored it's 5. How old was 5 being distributed? Or do we not know that?
Yes, so principals are working on that, but we're looking at, obviously, every building will have 1.5, and then there's going to be one person who will spend a day in each elementary school, or maybe mornings and afternoons, but we don't know the exact schedule yet. But the elementary principals have a plan, and there will be one AIS pupil, there will be one teacher who travels, basically.
I'd like to piggyback the math AIS because math is really important for life. So, yeah, I'm glad we can restore a little piece of it and hopeful for more. I think the 7th grade world language, every day is a great idea to help our students move toward fluency rather than every other. And then there's something else that I think might be a little misleading regarding the reducing of central office administration. That position was vacated this past fall. So didn't we reap the savings this year?
Yes, so we paid for that position through the end of August, and when that position was vacated, we made a conscious decision not to replace that position. And during this year, we wouldn't be paying anybody because nobody was sitting in that position, so there was savings there. But it's still in our budget. So when we take it out of the budget for the following year, it shows it on paper in the savings.
So the savings was this year also?
A proportion.
Correct, okay. I'm just saying, I think it's a little, I don't want anyone to be misled that that's a new savings.
Yeah, it's not, we're not trying to mislead anybody. We've been very clear. Okay, good.
Full amount, you're saving the full amount of that position this year. You know, and then we're adding another position. So
The full amount, but minus the clerk, the
Yeah,
the
so,
civil service position.
and just to be clear, again, we did not replace the assistant superintendent for human resources, and we added a civil service human resources officer for much less money. And then we also, in this budget, reduced the clerical and the HR office. So we reduced 2 bodies and added 1, if that makes sense.
So I just want to start by thanking the cabinet for taking the hard freeze. And I want to thank the SASA group for also taking a 0 in the for next year. It's no indication of the value that we have for the work that you do here. And it is greatly appreciated. And it is wonderful that we're going to take that money and put it towards program. I think that is really important that the community understand that that was a give back on their part. And we are very grateful for that. I also want to say, I'm glad, the budget season has been messy this year and last year. And it's hard because you have to work through it and you have to start with worst case scenario and kind of went into best case scenario, even if it didn't perfect. As we went through these, the cuts and the potential cuts and then what to restore, it's hard because everyone wants everything and you don't ever want to choose one thing over the other. But I think that working through this, we realized, or at least I realized, that once you lose a program, you kind of lose it forever. It's almost impossible to bring it back. So although we're losing parts of AIS and aid and certain positions, if we had lost world language, it would have been a very long time before we could put that back. And I think that's why the focus went to putting that restoring first. I support that and the idea that we can take what we had and revamp it into a K, it's actually not K now, it's 1 through 7 program, because we were going to have holes this year, even if we just left it as is. 2 was not going to have world language as it is, and 7 was going to be half day. So I think this makes it a whole program, and listening to the teachers in the community is definitely something that people valued and will help with fluency, as Kathy said as well. I do want to point out that, there were heavy cuts made, if you look, before we looked at programs, there were heavy cuts made in places like, supplies and textbooks and equipment. I mean, there was almost $750,000 cut right there before we even looked at programs. And those are the things that we can't ignore because they're the things that our teachers use to support their teaching. And of course, we're asking again our teachers to do more with less, and they'll rise to the occasion. But we do have to take into consideration that the budget is not ongoing and it's not infinite, and that we do have to make some cuts to make this happen. I am worried, though, that we are we're taking a lot year after year, and again this year, from our fund balance that we're not actually restoring. And although we'll still be at that right under that 4% in the fund balance, and we have reduced, the amount of spending, what is the concern going forward? Because I do think that Although we could just say, hey, we have enough money and we can restore positions that we would love to have, but have to look hard and fast that the decisions we make now are going to have strong effects in the future. And although sometimes we have to make difficult decisions, we also have to make fiscally responsible decisions. So what are our worries going forward?
I think there's always a worry and concern when you have a 2% tax cap and costs and expenditures, cost of goods go up more than 2%. Inflation, as you pointed out in the last meeting, 9% and 11%, and our bus contract went up 20+%. So it's very challenging. But that being said, we expect our revenue picture to look better next year. We expect a more natural flow of retirements to help offset things, and we do have to be careful. If we get additional funding, or if we can't just say let's put everything back because we want it. We have to be thoughtful about it. And I think one of the things I appreciate about your comment is, when this first happened, the first thing we went to was capital, right? Because we value staff, and we do want to do everything possible to not reduce staffing, and we did that first, and then try to reduce staffing in a way that doesn't affect the program, like the next. But I do think it's really important to keep our expenses down, to try to enhance what we have in our reserves and make sure that we are financially stable. And I'll let Rhonda kind of add to that, but I think it's really important to be conscious of not just jumping to put things back quickly, but be thoughtful and do it meticulously so that we are in a better financial position in future years. There were things that happened in the district that had to be taken care of. There were parking lots that had to be paved that were cracked and were tripping hazards. There was a pool that had to be marble dusted for $100,000+. There was a pipe in the bathroom that cost $100,000. The lighting in this auditorium was failing, and we had to replace it. Or else we wouldn't be able to use the auditorium for shows and for theater and for even meetings. The lights were flickering. So these things were just costs that have to be replaced, that were not part of past budgets, that we then used for funding. When we did the retirement incentive, that was a good thing to help with last year's budget, but it does affect our reserves, taking money out of reserves. So we have to look forward in the next year, 2, 3, 4, and really be thoughtful about keeping our expenses down and replacing funding in those reserves.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we can do better is, instead of looking from year to year, is to look from year 1 to year 5.
Yeah.
And start looking further down the road to make wiser decisions, because when you operate from year to year, that's how you get yourself in trouble. You're constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you pull this Band-Aid off of this injury, and then another injury opens up, and now you don't have enough fingers to plug the holes in the ship. So I think one thing that we can do better is start to look further down the road and make more financially sound decisions.
And if you look at budget presentations from 2019, so there's comments in the budget presentation from 2019 that says we are going to have to use $5 million of reserves to help offset the lack of revenue and increasing costs to maintain our programs. And we've been doing that for many years, but we have to kind of get that number down and get our revenue numbers up.
Yes, and I would like also to suggest that, although this is bumpy and it's hard for the community here, we're going to cut things, but that we start these conversations earlier in the year. And we make the state aid numbers, and those are our doom and gloom, or our good or our bad. But even a year like this one, where state aid is actually not our nemesis, although we don't have an exact final run, it isn't what they're fighting over in the state. And some of these discussions really could start earlier in the year when we look at class sizes. And these people can be prepared. They're not going to like some of the decisions we have to make, but they can be prepared that they will be coming. We look at the size of the class. And then you put that with an AS cut or an AP cut, and all those things happen at once. And it's very emotional. It's very hard for parents and our community to understand. And for us, even as a board, to absorb, because we get a lot thrown at us at once, and then we come out and face the community and hear them, and we want to make sound decisions, and you have to hear them sometimes 2 or 3 times to really have it sink in and understand what the process is and what's going on. And it may also help uncover some of the mistakes or some of the things that are not in the right place, so that we can not be up against the time crunch.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I think I've talked to many of the PTA organizations, and the feeling of having the rug pulled out from under them in a very quick manner was not a good feeling, and I felt the exact way. So we
better in that.
I agree with Christine. I just want to say, as a board, we are making tough decisions, as you said, and we need time to process and we need time to put in a lot of thoughtful consideration about these issues. And we do want to hear from the community, and we want, sometimes the community changes their mind, and sometimes they think it over and they come back to us with either more elaborate concerns or a different concern. So I too would really like to ask, I know it's kind of saying the same thing, but I would really like to start the process earlier and have access to these situations so that we have more time to process.
I just want to say historically, Long Island on a whole has been shortchanged. And I'm a little tired of it. I have relatives upstate New York. No, I have relatives upstate New York, and dollar for dollar, student for student, they get more money than we do. And that is very disturbing to me. And I would suggest lobbying your legislators, the state government, to say it's time for New York to get its fair share.
So I just wanted to, for an example, it looks like on paper that we're already in the hole about 120 grand when we go to next year based off the interim business official, SASA taking the zero, central office taking the freeze, which are gracious and there's no doubt about it. But they have to get that next year, right? So we already have to account for those numbers next year. And the interim business official, we have to account for that. We're gonna have to hire a business official eventually. So it's already like, that's what I'm talking about, like with the Band-Aids, like we take here, and so I think we just have to, sometimes make these difficult decisions and with the kids in mind at all times, and then move from there. But we really need to start looking like further than next year. And I know sometimes it's hard to get that vision, to look beyond, but I think we as a board and have to try to just do the best we can. I just want to say that I feel Kathy has gone above and beyond what a board, listen, I've only been on one board, and I've only been on for a year, but I feel like she has gone above and beyond trying to, work numbers and find solutions to problems. And I'm not saying that anyone has, I just have, I just know what she continuously brings to the table. So I just wanted to thank her for that, because she just constantly seems like she's, always thinking outside the box, always trying to find ways to save money and to restore programs. And so I just wanted to thank her for that.
I just want to make one comment with regard to the reserves. So a lot of our reserves are for very specific reasons, and most of them are for our benefits. So our TRS, our ERS, our workers' comp, our unemployment. And the purpose of those is to alleviate spikes in rates. So that's really, it's not supposed to be supplementing all of the other things, but that's what the purpose of those reserves are. So especially with our TRS reserve, it's very important to make sure that that gets funded again so that we can use it very strategically in years moving forward.
Any other comments? Okay, I would just like to say thank you to all the stakeholders for the contribution with getting this budget together. And it doesn't go unnoticed by the Board of Education. And I also thank the community for the support as well. So what I'll do now is I'll open it up for public comments. Let me just read the statement regarding our public comment policy. The Board of Education appreciates feedback from the community, and we recognize free speech as one of our fundamental freedoms. These freedoms are not without restrictions. We follow regulations specified by law and board policy as we encourage the community members to offer public comment. According to Sayville School Board Policy 1230, we request the following. Participants in public session must demonstrate civility as they address the board and community. 30 minutes have been set aside for comments by the public. The board reserves the right to limit or extend public participation if it deems necessary. Comments and questions from the public are limited to 3 minutes per person and should be related to school matters. Speakers are requested to identify themselves or the group they represent and direct their comments to the board. The board will not permit discussion involving individual students, district personnel, or community members. The full policy is available on the district website, and we appreciate your support to have a productive meeting. Thank you. So if I could have a show of hands okay. I guess, yeah, so let's start over here. You come to the podium.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is James Regan. I'm a junior at Sayville High School and a pretty active member of this town's music community. Today, I'd like to speak about the proposed budget cut, specifically the staff reduction in the music program that will leave Mr. Carapoli without a job. Since Mr. C began his career at Sayville Schools, he has made a lasting impact on our music department. From his time in this district, many students have had the honor and privilege of working with him. When the news was first broken that his job was being cut, I think everybody in the music department was extremely concerned. We were told that the music program would not suffer from budget cuts, and yet here we are. It was a slap in the face for a lot of us to hear that someone so integral to this school's program and community now is out of work. Sayville is a small district. Losing one teacher is equivalent to losing 3 or 4 in a larger one. And so any potential staffing cuts ought to be thoroughly thought out. And I don't believe this one was. Because there is absolutely no way that the music department can remain fully supported, as you keep telling us, without Mr. C's position. Not without putting unreasonable burdens on the existing staff and hurting the quality of our school's music education. Facing this potential reality, many of us in the music department decided that we wanted to do anything we could to fight for Mr. C's position. Shortly after receiving the news of Mr. C's potential job loss, I created an online petition and shared it with the Sayville community in order to collect signatures and support for Mr. C. As of today, that petition has 755 signatures and counting, made up of concerned students, parents, alumni, and community members who all recognize that cutting Mr. C's job would be a major mistake. A lot of those people are here with me today, and we are all urging you to change your minds. I would now like to read some quotes that students have left on the petition to help better highlight the impact that Mr. C has had. From Annabella, Mr. Carapoli is genuinely one of the most kind and caring teachers I've ever had. It breaks my heart to see that such a fantastic teacher's job is at risk. From Christopher, I only met Mr. C last year within my orchestra class, and that 1 year with him teaching me in lessons made me improve and learn far more than any other time we learned. He always showed so much care and passion into teaching us, and he always made the classroom a lot brighter. From Christopher, I only met Mr. C, from Robert, he is the best music teacher. He is fun and relatable. He is a core reason so many students choose to stay in music. This would be a major loss for the music program. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to read more, but I encourage each and every board member here to go and look through the petition and read the comments yourself. It is the least you could do. Everyone here tonight is here to show their support for Mr. C because we've all had wonderful experiences getting to know him, and to see him leave us would be nothing short of a tragedy. Our school's music community will suffer greatly without him, and I sincerely hope that you reconsider this decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can we get the petition? Can we get the petition?
I can send you an email.
And that was amazingly well spoken. That's in the room. Okay.
Good evening, my name is Grace Garapola. I'm a senior at Sayville High School, and I've participated in several of our school's music programs, like Wind Ensemble and Pit Orchestra, and even give some private lessons to underclassmen. At the start of his career at Sayville, Mr. Carapoli was our high school's very own beginning guitar teacher. Now he's in the general music teacher at Sayville Middle School. However, Mr. Carapoli remains very active in the Sayville School's music community outside his own classroom. Mr. C was also an integral part of the Pit Orchestra during Sayville High School's musical, Something Rotten, this year. And I can say on behalf of the Pit, she is a part of our music family in Sayville, He played a vital role, and it wouldn't have been the same without him. Mr. Carapoli played violin in the pit, taking time out of his schedule not to only show up and play in the pit, but also to learn the music to an expert degree. Mr. C showed incredible dedication, and his immense passion for music really shone through. Just a few of Mr. Carapoli's qualities that make him such an amazing teacher and a person as a whole. Without Mr. C to fill in, not only would there have been a musical part missing from the pit, but the excitement and talent brought through the ensemble, specifically by Mr. Carapoli, would be missing as well. Both inside and outside his classroom, Mr. Carapoli finds a way to create lasting memories for students and inspire them a desire to explore music and performance simply by showcasing the passion he himself possesses. Mr. Carapoli taught invaluable lessons about nurturing a positive and open mindset towards music, ideals that have guided me and others throughout their career at Sayville High School. He is not just teaching notes and rhythms, he cultivates passion and resilience in his students. His impact extends far beyond mere musical instruction. It's about building confidence and fostering a love for the arts that lasts a lifetime. Of course, Pit Orchestra is not the only out-of-school event that Mr. Carapoli has volunteered his time to help out. Mr. C also attended several football games, not just to watch the band, but to also show his support as a community member. Outside of music, Mr. Carapoli has volunteered to chaperone on field trips like the 8th grade Frost Valley trip or 7th grade Boston trip, and attends many events throughout the year to help out in any way he can. Mr. C is not required to do any of this, but the fact that he does anyway and does with such contagious excitement and immense passion really says a lot about his character. Mr. C clearly loves to be involved in the communities he's a part of, and to lose him would be a devastating blow, not to just our music program, but to our entire team of school faculty members. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is William Mitchell, and I'm a sophomore at Sayville High School who participates in several music groups and the RISE Independent Research Program. I'm in the process of developing a research study discussing some of the benefits of music education. In the preparation for my study, I've identified many benefits of music education. Simply stated, music education benefits the quality of education overall. According to a recent study by Howe in 2021 and a study by Tanja and others in 2021, students who participate in music programs have higher SAT scores, higher GPAs, less substance abuse, less disciplinary problems, higher graduation rates, and higher attendance rates. These results have been replicated many times in other studies, such as a study done by Na and others in 2024, which proved the emotional and psychological benefits of taking music classes. These are not opinions, but facts that have been proven from experiments and will be used in my research paper. Despite the myriad of benefits that come with music education, programs are continuously overlooked and cut, which is extremely frustrating. The statistical benefits which demonstrate the impact of music education when students are ignored, and people still view music as less important in academic class. The view that music education is less important is the exact myth that my study will disprove. By reducing the size of music faculty, enrollment will continue to suffer, as fewer students will get the personalized attention and care provided by having an extra staff member. At the board meeting on March 27th and today, we were told the music program here at Sayville would be fully supported with budget cuts, other than lesson groups getting larger. Yet the removal of Mr. C's position simply makes this impossible, regardless of how it is handled. At the middle school, Mr. C teaches all the general music classes and multiple lesson groups. Without Mr. C's position, the elementary music program suffers because staff will need to be relocated away, putting additional strain on the teacher and getting rid of 4th grade band rehearsals. Music education will suffer, especially in places where it's most important for early development. This is when students decide if they want to start and continue with music classes. Having the extra staff member at the middle school allows for more students to be interested in continuing with music. Although many of the staff members may have certifications to teach all the areas in music, each faculty member has their own area of expertise and cannot be easily replaced. Many of the music faculty members have inspired me to want to be a music teacher upon graduation. The lack of emphasis seen on music education is concerning for my future and the future of my peers. I urge you as a board to please reconsider cutting a music faculty member. In a world that discourages creativity and originality, music classrooms help students continue to express themselves and learn in a positive and fulfilling way. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good evening. My name is Christian Vaughn, and I'm a senior at Sayville High School and have participated in several music programs like our wind ensemble, jazz ensemble, and many others. As some of you may remember from my AP research presentation last year, I conducted my research project on student involvement in school music programs over the course of their school careers. As an active music student myself, I noticed the decline in the size of our school's music program over the course of my own music career, and I became curious as to why. So, I sent out surveys to current and former music students in grades 8 through 12 to try my best to figure out when most students dropped out of music programs and why. My research was conducted strictly on school districts in Suffolk County, but heavily focused on Sayville's music program. And I determined that most students seemed to drop out of music upon entry to high school, oftentimes because they had a negative experience with a peer or teacher, or because they lost interest in the subject over time. When I interviewed current high school music students and asked what made them stay in music, the answers I received mirrored each other very well, all centering around one theme: the sense of community and family they found within our music program. Above all else, the most important part of our music program for the students taking part in it was feeling included, feeling welcome, feeling like they belong. One key aspect of achieving this sense of community, as claimed by a majority of my interviewees, was the importance of students developing good relationships with their music teachers. I've only known Mr. Carapoli for 3 years, but I can't think of any teacher better at making students feel welcome and included than Mr. C. Whether it's playing Mario Kart with the high school paid orchestra, or inspiring students to explore their creativity through music, or even on the morning announcements, Mr. Carapoli has had a positive impact on countless Sayville students over the past couple of years. Even though I never even had the pleasure of having Mr. C as a teacher, I feel like I've been able to easily form a strong bond with Mr. Carapoli simply by interacting with and talking to him at the high school or at other events. If he were to lose his job at Sayville, I can't even begin to count how many future music students would miss the opportunity to meet Mr. C, who is both an excellent music teacher and friend to every student who's ever had the honor of working with him. As a form of closing statement, if the board will accept them, I'd like to present them with this envelope, filled with letters written by students sharing their favorite moments and stories of Mr. Carapoli, on behalf of all the students in Sayville's music department. When I first asked if anybody would be willing to write a letter in support of Mr. C, the idea was overwhelmed by support, and many Sayville music students began spreading the idea as far as they could, trying to get as many well-written letters from Mr. C as possible. So I'd now like to hand it over to the board as our final bit of proof as to how Mr. Carapoli has had such an amazing impact on Sayville's music department. Again, thank you all so much for your time and for the opportunity to speak on behalf of Mr. Carapoli, and I hope we've helped to sway your decision on the matter. And of course, I'd like to give a special thank you on behalf of myself and the entire Sayville music department to Mr. Carapoli for all of his amazing work and service this past couple years.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to just say to the students, thank you for coming and thank you for speaking. You speak beautifully and your passion for music is obvious. Thank you. We know music and art are very important parts of a well-rounded education. Thank you for coming out.
And I just want to add to the students, you guys are brilliant. You're using what you're learning from your teachers in class and argumentation and research. And it's really brilliant to watch you speak. But even more brilliant is the performances that I've gotten to see. Your performances, whether in music or arts or theater, have been unbelievable. I hear you. I'm listening to everything you're saying, and I agree in the value of that teacher that you mentioned. He's absolutely everything you said, and I understand and recognize that. And I want you to know that. I hear you.
I just wanted to add that you're breaking my heart. The music program was the center of my daughter's life. So I know what your community gives to you, and I'm proud of the people that you're becoming. She already contacted me to harass me, and she meant it. But I just appreciate being here, what you have to say to people that you're becoming, and the community that you formed. You're one of the best parts of our culture. Thanks.
Thank you very much. You're a very impressive group. I am very impressed, and I'm very happy to see the students of Sayville fighting for what they want and fighting for what they believe. Never stop.
I totally agree. You were incredibly impressive. You, the parents who have reached out to us. I want to say I found out about your petition to keep Mr. Carapoli because my own daughter signed it and sent it to me. So they also feel that connection. And Mr. Carapoli, I hope this is not your opus, but I'm pleased that you understand that you're beloved in this town. And this is going to be a very small consolation prize, but this may not be the end. Mr. Carapoli is being what's called excess, which means the position will be abolished, but he'll be put on a recall list for 7 years, which means the second there's a lead replacement or there is an opening by law, not by promise of this board, by law, we have to offer him his position back. So we hope that something will happen, that there will be no chance that he's gonna leave and come back, but if he does, he will always be welcomed, and as soon as there is a chance to bring him back, we will offer that. So we're hoping that this is not a forever.
Can I jump on and speak in addition to what the kids were saying now? This district is a wonderful district. So I'm a parent of a music and an athlete. This district is a wonderful district, but it has always been criticized for focusing only on its athletics. Here we are giving you an opportunity to prove that the athletics are not the only thing that matter in this district. So I'm really hoping you'll step it up and you'll speak up and you'll do the right thing for these kids.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, I just want to. Okay. Over here.
Hi, my name is Chris Robertson, and I am running for the Board of Ed this coming year. And I just got asked the question, are you sure you want to do this? And I said, absolutely not, but I feel I have to do this because my daughter is in 4th grade, and I'm a music teacher, and she plays the trumpet. And I don't like the way things are run here, so I felt compelled to go. And that's not a criticism of any teacher, because I think our music teachers are just absolutely fabulous. But the setup that we have here, I think, is very, it's not conducive to, I think, the best approach that this community deserves. One of the things I love about in the high school is, if you look in the high school auditorium, they have the whole ring of like all the all-state students that they've had over time. And before I even student taught, I had to do a practicum, and I observed, I was Bernstein, Andy, Jim Alvo, and Pete DeSalvo, and Jeff Hoffman, and all them, and it was a great music program. I still think it is, but I think we could get back to that pinnacle that where we were. And I'm really, I'm looking at this sample here, and I just know from being a music teacher that we have 9 trombone and trumpet players in there. That's 2 different clefs. They don't even play in the same key. And that's like teaching French and German in the same exact class. And I know you're thinking like, all right, it's only 9, but those are 9 beginner students. And so when I have I flash back to my kid playing baseball when he was 4 years old. Almost every kid was hitting each other with a bat. You needed like a parent on each kid because they didn't know what was going on. And that's kind of what happens in the elementary school classroom. The kid doesn't know how to put on a reed, they don't know how to put on a ligature, they don't know how to do anything that first year. And so although 7 might seem like a small number, that's quite a large number. And I don't think that's educationally sound. And by cutting another staff member, I think that's just exacerbating the problem. So, I know you guys have the budget due. It sounds like Mr. C is amazing, but I would love to see changes, and especially next year, if you're saying we have a rosier picture, I would love to see changes to get these numbers lower and to get Mr. C back. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to comment and say that I agree with you, and I think I mentioned in my presentation, those 8 or 9 areas in those lesson groups we want to address. So we're going to work with the music department. There shouldn't be trombones and trumpets together. I agree with you. We're going to make sure that we're not doing
I did want to, thank you for your kind of expert perspective. Very much value that. I do want to say, though, I don't think there was a better time for civil music than now, because that's been my experience. I don't think this is one of those get back to being great. I think we all agree. I think the challenge is to maintain the excellence that we have, and support it. And this is a tough situation, the whole district's in. But I do feel that I have not seen a drop off in the music program. I've followed it for a long time. But I do think your perspective and expert expertise is really valuable. I appreciate it. So thank you.
Wait, one more, okay, sorry.
My name is Paul Conifrey. I'm also a band director. I'm a high school band director. I appreciate everything that was said tonight. The things that I appreciate the most were how the fundamentals in the beginning stages are the most important. So I love Mr. Garofoli. I'm not here to fight for him. I'm here to talk about how a fourth grade band program can be a band program without a band schedule on your sample year. I don't see fourth grade band here at all. So in addition to trying to spread out the instruments, we also need to add a fourth grade rehearsal in. I'd also like to say you have an enhancement to language. Again, being a high school teacher, I see the importance of the language throughout the district. If you have an enhancement of any kind, how can you have a cut of any kind? I do not see how you can say add more to suffer for the arts and music that you really are saying that you really enjoy. You've seen the benefits. I see students here that I saw in Allstate that started because they had a foundation, a solid foundation, that they were able to really continue through middle school and in high school. If you take the elementary person and put them into the middle school, you now have minimized the beginning stages, again, the most important stages. I don't know what else to tell you, and I know that the budget is due tomorrow, but the numbers do have to be switched. You can't add and enhance another program at the sacrifice of one.
And as I said, if we look at those sections and we want to reduce them, and look at that fourth grade rehearsal, we've been talking about that, actually spoke with the music chairperson during the day. Even enhancing those, it would still be a 0.2 or a 0.4 FTE. It wouldn't be a full-time equivalent to do something like that. But I appreciate and agree with your comments about what would make a early band introductory, a solid program. So I do. Also, if we adopt the budget tonight, we're adopting the overall number. It doesn't mean that we can't, within that, make staffing decisions over the next couple of weeks or months before the school year starts. So I want to emphasize that if the board adopts tonight, it's adopting the number 105 million and whatever the actual number is. We still can have conversation about staffing.
Hello, everybody. Just a couple of comments. I agree with Desmond and Christine. The budget process feels very rushed every year. It feels very surprising and unnecessarily stressful. I feel like the planning needs to be happening way earlier. Once this budget is passed, you should probably be planning for next year's budget. If you do it in pieces, there may be compromises that come out sooner rather than later. There may be savings that can be found sooner rather than later. I feel like we know that we're stuck at the tax cap and we're dipping into reserves, but we don't change our model. We don't plan ahead. The research for the bus contract should have happened before it did, because this way, if you only got one RFP back out of 7, you can then call up all of the people who didn't answer and say, well, why not? And then you can call other districts and ask who they're using and maybe try calling those people. What are the long-term changes that you guys need to think about making to keep all the AIS math teachers, to keep the music program, to keep the language program? That planning starts today so that 5 years from now, we're not in the same situation. It feels like maybe, I I don't know, maybe somebody with financial experience should be sitting on the board helping through this. You guys are not in an enviable position. I get it, inflation's going up, cap is at 2%, but you just wonder like, how to fix all of the spending, because I do see you keep dipping into the reserves, and those reserves eventually, they run dry. I did come last month. I did talk a little bit about how our central administration is really well paid for the size of the school. I believe that you guys said my numbers were not correct, so I have a little bit of paperwork I'm gonna pass out to the board. So this is pay data that I pulled from the data.nysed.gov, and then I called and I confirmed with the budget office of New York State. And so if you look at the people we're paying on salary that make $175,000 or more, I'm sorry, it's $174,000 and more, we have enrollment of 2,502 students. We have 16 people at that level. Patchogue has 7,369, oh, and that's, so I'm sorry. That's 16 people with a total payroll just for those 16 of $3,864,520. Patchogue Medford is 3 times our size. It's 7,369 students. They have 17 people, so just one more than us, that make over $174,000. And they actually spend less than us at $3,681. Connecticut has double our enrollment at 5,300, and they have 18 people making $175,000 or less at $3,819,000. So I am not picking on anyone on this list. I'm not saying they don't do an incredible job. I'm just saying that it looks like we spend like we're a bigger school than we are. We're talking about cutting an AIS teacher, but we're paying like a district. We're paying more than a district that has 7,000 students. And it just, from a purely black and white, like agnostic financial perspective, it doesn't make sense that you're cutting music and AIS math, and we're pulling in a payroll like this at our size. So maybe we don't need, and I like I said, I don't want to pick on any of these positions. I don't know them personally. I don't even know what some of them all do exactly, but you look at these numbers from a business perspective and you go, gee, it doesn't really make sense. And that is just my closing thought, that going forward, maybe we can streamline some of these jobs. Maybe we can hire the new business superintendent at a lower salary than what this one was being paid. And I get it, there's pay scales and all of that, but we are not at an enrollment level where we can afford to pay these numbers overall. And if we're saying that enrollment is going down, just some general food for thought. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a brief point. Thank you for putting the time into this and your perspective. I appreciate it. I was a principal in Pat Ed, so one thing, just in terms of the numbers, the directors aren't listed on the sheet. There's a lot more directors. I think the metric you're drawing on makes sense to me. I understand. Big district, a lot of positions. Okay. But I appreciate the time you put into this.
Good evening, Ryan Moya. I do want to start by thanking you. I know tough decisions had to be made, and no matter what anyone's getting paid, taking the pay cut's never fun or free, so everyone thought. I think debate's helpful, right? We get the better outcome. We talk about transparency, and we can see different perspectives. So I do respect that we can have a healthy debate at these sessions as well. I'm going to respectfully disagree with our elementary class sizes. I do think we're on the higher end of what would be expected for a Long Island school district. And when we talk about our neighbors around Connecticut, Bayport, Blue Point, Patchogue, they tend to be in the 14 to 18 range, and that's right from the New York State Department website. You can pull that down yourself. New York City just signed a bipartisan law last year that will limit K through 3 to under 20 students. Get that's the city, but that's the direction. And every study out there concludes that the proposed definition we have right now for elementary school is fully supported is inaccurate for our most vulnerable and younger students. I don't know if any of you up here have 6, 7, 8-year-olds. I can tell you, putting 3 of them in a room is a problem, but 25, I fear for that teacher's safety. And I have mental health too. And I do have a few questions, but I wanted to ask about the capital reserve fund. My understanding is for the past few years, after we voted as a district, we put about $1 million in there as part of the budget, and then we use it for capital plans throughout the year. Is that correct?
So it was approved May of 2022. The first time we put money into it was at the beginning of at the end of the 22-23. It was $1 million. We have not been able to put any more in that. It's grown by mere interest. Typically, the way capital reserve is used, you would save money and plan something larger. To avoid going out for more borrowing. So far, nothing has been spent from that reserve. It's fairly new. There's a limit as to how many years you can fund that. But it is to use it for a larger planned project, and the objective is to save a little bit and add to that reserve.
So when we say we put $1 million into the capital fund, it's not the capital reserve fund, it's something completely separate.
Correct. It's an interfund transfer, and we've done that over the last several years, $1 million. We've addressed elementary bathrooms with that in the last few years, and now we're turning to the secondary. So it's actually part of the general fund budget, but it's an interfund transfer, and it's a project that is maintained and dispersed from our capital fund.
Okay, so capital fund and capital reserve fund, 2 different things.
Correct.
Naming conventions a little bit. And the other thing I just can't wrap my head around, and we touched about it last time, is the general insurance. 26.6% this year seems really high. 53.5% over 2 years seems ridiculously high. Looking at our neighbor districts, no one exceeded 15% this year. So I'd like to, point out that if we rose our insurance at the same cost of living adjustments as our neighboring districts, we would have a savings of about $120,000 this year alone. So it seems like savings that could have been well spent on, 1 or 2 FTE, particularly amongst our great teachers that we hear these students talking about, our permanent subs that are, taking positions in the school. So I would like to understand a little bit more in the future, or however you want to do it, of why are we an outlier there? What's driving our insurance so much higher than all of our districts surrounding us? And with the contingency budget, we spent a lot of time talking about it. Is the reason that admin and capital take such a large hit because we're at bare bones of what we would have for children programs? I know there's limitations on what it can be, but I'm a little bit surprised to see that's where the emphasis would fall.
So
there are state minimums to what a contingent child program would be. Are we too close to that minimum that we have to get everywhere else?
I can't speak to the program, but what I can speak to is with a contingency budget, that $1 million that we just spoke about would not be able to happen. So for the capital budget component piece, the $1 million for the bathrooms would come out. $44,300 is equipment for facilities, and it's for the program budget. I know that is predominantly equipment within our buildings. You can't buy equipment. And then for the administrative budget, it's equipment and then other non-contingent expenses that we would have to reduce.
So if you look at this slide here, there's rules about if a budget fails, what you have to do. And if you look, I can't read it here, it talks about how you come up with the administrative number. And so it's either the year before or this year's percentage, whichever one is lesser. And so that's where that administrative number comes. It's not related to whether you have good, strong academic programs or not, or whether you have robust class sizes or things like that.
Understand. So I think the general question I have is, with the amount of taxes that we pay in Sayville, we're a leading program across the island. No one doubts that. It's because of these teachers first and foremost. It's starting to feel like we're an outlier when we look at, across the board and our peers. And I'd just like us to take a step back and figure out why.
Okay.
And it doesn't answer now, I know it's not a fair question, but I would like us to take a step back and figure out why Sayville is becoming an outlier.
Thank you. I do want to say that there are many surrounding districts, including our neighboring districts, who are having similar struggles as a result of the tax cap and the rate of inflation. Just the other day, another district right next to us was having a similar discussion about our class sizes and the challenges they're facing. So I don't think it's unique to Sayville. I think we want it to not be here, but it's not completely unique.
And Maureen, I agree with your point. Maybe there is more as parents we could be doing to call our state reps, call the state to figure out why we're getting shafted if our state aid is becoming a problem. And I just want to turn to you guys. Great job. It's hard enough getting up here as an adult, as a parent who doesn't love public speaking. Don't lose that fire. You guys are our future. Keep standing up and fighting for what you believe in.
Can I ask a question to piggyback off of one? It's a Moyer, right? Moyer's questions about the insurance.
Yeah.
So I know that have brought multiple community members have come up and said similar things, like why can't we shop, right? More or less. Correct me if I'm wrong. Does the insurance company, is that the insurance company that basically says that if you leave us, you can never come back? Is that?
That is true. I was told that by a board member of NYSER. I did not know that myself. But we have obviously claims and losses, and you pay rates based on claims and losses. Also, we've added a lot of fixed assets over the years that has to be insured. So, we have a number of different policies. It's not like shopping for your home. It's a little more involved than that.
But I just wanted to make sure that was the conversation.
Yes.
Hi there, my name is Sally Karowski. I wear a lot of different hats. My Venn diagram is pretty messy, but I've never been prouder to be a music mom. Ms. Voxel, you have inspired citizens of the future. This is an extraordinary showing of support. You should be so incredibly proud of yourselves. You are unbelievably inspiring to all of us. Please keep singing this song. This is the best music you can make. To use your voice for good, to stand up for what you believe in and make it heard in an educated, knowledgeable way. So well done. Thank you. I'm actually here tonight as PTA Council President. So PTA Council is a lot of things. We don't actually have any constituents or members as part of our PTA. We are a council of all the other PTAs. And what our job is to really support the PTAs in facilitating communication. Communication between the community, the board, the superintendent's office, as well as the different PTAs within themselves. And one of the things we've really been struggling with is clear, consistent communication. So that's in the spirit in which I approach it today. A recurring discussion in the past 2 years has been about the frustration that the PTAs are feeling in not being able to communicate effectively with our membership communities about budget concerns. And as it's constantly moving target with ever-changing information, and I know we're not alone in that frustration. It's been addressed many times here tonight. Given that the factors that influenced our budget crisis last year and the unexpected revenue changes this year, having to pivot and respond to unplanned budgetary cuts, create contingency plans, and make difficult financial decisions has unfortunately become the norm rather than the exception. We have no reason to believe that the next few years will be any more certain or predictable, and it would be irresponsible to not make those necessary adjustments to ensure that we prepare for the unexpected in an informed, controlled, and thoughtful manner. Right now, we are dealing with a challenge of optics and trust. With an effort to be transparent comes frequent communication, changes, and updates, which contribute to a feeling of general chaos and unrest, which then creates a feeling that any communication or publication may change and so then cannot be trusted. At these board meetings and at our individual board meetings, we continue to hear from passionate, frustrated community members who feel as though their voices and opinions are not being heard, do not matter, are being misprioritized, and who continue to ask, how did we get here? Why is this happening? And who made these decisions? With that in mind, I'd like to recommend, request, or suggest that Sayville Schools Board of Education create a budget advisory committee comprised of representatives from each of the stakeholder groups in the district: parents, teachers, administration, business owners, and taxpaying community members who do not have children. This group would work with the leadership of a Board of Education member and closely with the Finance Cabinet member all year long, and that's been mentioned a couple of different times. They would work with them all year long to analyze and plan financial matters so that decisions made about cuts, reappropriations, reductions, additions, expenditures, and investments have input and buy-in from the impacted community at all times, not just in times of crisis or in response to budget proposal number X in as many weeks. This group would work to develop tiered contingency plans for cuts in the event that funding is reduced or other unexpected issues arise, such as the Bristol pilot cuts, COVID, enrollment changes, what have you. This would allow us to more easily pivot to adapt to the changing financial landscape, hopefully mitigating the confusion and anxiety clearly felt by our community. They would also be able to help plan, forecast, and prioritize our ability as a district to embrace investments in program growth and development with an eye to how sustainable and financially viable those programs will continue to be in the long term. By having a budget advisory committee, we would also create opportunities beyond just the board positions and PTA positions for subject matter expert community members, which couldn't have been better planned for the communications we had here tonight. That would allow them to really contribute to district processes in a new and really valuable way, a way we don't have today. This is actually a standard practice in many districts. I was kind of surprised to realize we don't have this already. And just a quick Google search, I found Bayport Blue Point has a budget advisory committee. Babylon has a BOE finance committee. Massapequa has a BOE budget and finance committee. And if you go to Massapequa's website for their school district, they have really good information about exactly what the charter for this group is. And give me just a moment, I can read you through the bullet points they listed. The statement of purpose says their budget finance committee shall review year-end treasurer's report and prior year budget appropriation adjustments between budget functions, review monthly treasurer's reports and district reserves plan to gain an understanding of district finances, review fund balance projection reports beginning in March, so they're reporting starting already for everything projected forward, review the proposed budget prior to public distribution and offer input to support and vote on the budget by consensus, perform special projects as requested by the Board of Ed. And this really gives us a lot of creativity to really make this personalized to what we need for the year. So review a 5-year capital improvement plan prepared by the district architect, assist in recommending project financing. If they exist, review revenue shortfalls, which certainly would have been helpful this year. Assist in the development of informational budget materials to be presented to the community to ensure consistent, thorough, and transparent messaging. Be a liaison to the community. Review all educational and financial matters with district officials. Attend budget workshops. And the key piece is that this committee meets September through May. So it's truly a year-round process that allows for that kind of input that we're really lacking. And you can hear that in the frustration. We've had so much repetition here tonight about feeling last minute, feeling rushed, feeling like all of this is kind of being put upon us week after week. We're seeing different numbers. That really lends itself to an overall feeling of unrest. And our community is stronger than that. And so we need our financial foundation to match that community strength. So obviously, this is something that requires some planning. I'd certainly like to offer the council's resources in any way we can possibly help to corral some of those subject matter experts. But I would love to see that the Board of Education endorse this plan and maybe work on it so we can have it going forward years to come. Thank you so much for your time.
So, I just want to say personally, thank you very much for the approach and how I came up with that. And I will volunteer right now to support you in how to do that.
I was about to say, Sally, thank you. I'd like to echo that with what Tom said, the way you're up here, well thought out, well spoken. I don't know what it would entail to get that together, but I think that's an awesome idea. I also support that. I do think we need some people to, like Mr. Moya was saying, we do need some people that have this background and that can help out and help to give us input from the different stakeholders in the community. So thank you so much, Sally.
Hello, everybody. I'm gonna take this because I'm short. My name is Erin Robolata, a music mom, and to echo Sally, to echo everybody, you're amazing. You did wonderful. But I want to start by complimenting all of you, and I want to compliment our administrators and our teachers to embrace the Sayville Strides initiative. I did not go to Aruba during spring break. I was at the Sayville High School several days in a row and picking up my children. And there are Sayville Strides posters everywhere. The Sayville Strides initiative was a few letters, and they stand for different words. And to those of you in the room who don't know them, the S is self-esteem, the T is trust, the R is resiliency, the I is independence, the D is diversity, the E is empathy, and the S is strength. And I want to compliment every educator in this room because this district could have an assembly a year, or they could have a standalone lesson on these strides concepts. But that's not what Sayville did. Sayville embraced strides. It's everywhere. It is woven into our curriculum. And I love that tomorrow night is a family connect night. And I can go up to the football field with my entire family and I can watch the girls play flag football. And I can watch these band kids perform at the game. And I just love that the families can go and not think about homework that night. And they can literally just go and focus on enjoying their community and realizing why they love to live here. So I thought about those strides letters, and I started with the S, which is self-esteem. Every adult in this room, every child in this room can name activities in their life that developed their self-esteem. One of mine is meeting my best friend, who is still my best friend, in a room literally above us where we are right now. She's still my friend. She's raising her children in this community as well. But what else could build our self-esteem? It could be maybe your art was recognized by Mrs. Urso tonight. Maybe it's a grade that you worked hard for in school. Maybe it's a sport that you played your whole life, but now you get to walk out on the field and represent your town. And for many of our students that are here tonight, self-esteem was built in the music classrooms, in the art classrooms. And I want to talk about some of those rooms. They don't happen in one room. They happen all over this community. These students that are right here, they are everywhere. They might join the musical. Those same students join the jazz ensemble. Those same students play in the band. Some of them join the funk orchestra that performed at Jazz Night last night. And they literally are a family. You can see with their matching outfits that they're a family. So I'm asking all of you, what are we doing to their self-esteem if we are taking someone they trust away from them. There are people that they trust in both music and art being removed this year. These kids are getting slammed with 2 cuts in the areas that they're passionate about. So there's that T-level, trust, and that concerns me. So these music and art programs teach our children to work independently. They then contribute to a larger ensemble, whether it be the band, the funk orchestra, the musical. It's kind of like how an athlete trains in the off season so that they can give back to their team. But there's a difference with these kids. They don't have an off season. They are music kids from September all the way to June. These students and their talents are highlighted all over the place. Like tonight's board meeting, the national anthem literally had me teared up, and then I've teared up several times over again since. Then it was jazz night last night. Last night it was so much fun to see the same kids get up on stage, and they were in the jazz ensemble. And then they moved a music stand or two, and then they came back up, and then those same kids were in the jazz choir. And then those same kids were in the funk band, and they were literally everywhere. So I know one of our other strides letters is E, empathy. These kids showed you how much they love each other, how much they show up for each other, and they show up everywhere. At the national anthem tonight, at the musical, in Mr. Shaw's Little Theater, at the Strides Carnival. And if you've seen them tonight or tomorrow or at any of these events, you've seen their strength and the bond that they form when they invest in music and arts. So I want to close and ask you to think twice about removing anything from our music and arts programs, because music and arts is Sayville Strides.
I just had a really quick question. I might be wrong. I wasn't planning on speaking, but when I was looking at it, I have a son who's in 9th grade who is a special ed student. He's in inclusion. And today I had his annual review. We were going over his recommendations for next year. And come to find out, we're going to go the principles of geometry route. That's usually for the children who struggle a little bit more and need a little bit of time before they move on to Regents geometry. But I was told after the fact that there is only one teacher in that class, so that's not an inclusion class. Those students are the ones who need the support the most. And my child is not ready to go from Regents algebra to Regents geometry. So he needs that little bit of extra time before we make the decision whether we're going to put him in a Regents geometry class. So now you have, let's say, 20, 22 kids in a principal geometry class who need support, and there's one teacher. How is that fair to that teacher to spread their time between the class? Will they be a need in there? Will there be someone else to help with instruction to support those students that need the help most? And you guys are all amazing. I should have started with that. I was sitting over there in tears while each and every one of you spoke. So thank you.
If you, sorry, I would like to look into what you're asking about and then get back to you.
Yeah.
I just need to know more detail. It's not a budget related thing, but it might be just, I want to understand it.
Okay. And again, this happened this morning, so I don't know if that is 100%, but from several different people, I did hear that, and it's kind of scary to have 20, 22, 23 children who struggle with one teacher in a class that needs support. Because, I mean, I know there's high school teachers here that are in inclusion and have a class with general ed and those inclusion children, and they still need that support. So I appreciate you looking at that.
Get back.
Thank you.
Everybody. You know, some of you know I had surgery, not long ago, I'm still not very comfortable. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So if you could just have patience, actually took a painkiller before I came. I just want to go over, I have a few things to go over, and I brought the board to help remind myself. Initially, well, you guys, thank you. My daughter was music and classical piano. It was great listening to all of you. There's an article in Suffolk County News, and I have it here. I'm not going to read it, but it claims that information posted online, I assume by me, is not true. I have some ways you can save money with that false information that was false in paper. I foiled the district, and the lawsuit with Mr. Branscombe is not being paid by the insurance reciprocal. Okay, he's not claiming a loss, a damages. It's a breach of contract, basically. So I have the letter here that I foiled. We are paying for that. The money that can go to our teachers are paying for that. I don't know what the cost is up to right now, but there's going to come a point, because I see what's going on with that case, it might be best to settle that case and give Peter what he needs instead of continue to pay attorney fees to Gershio and Gershio. Here's the letter.
Okay, I'm sorry, we can't really discuss.
I know you
particular
can't,
person.
we don't discuss the fee. We don't need to discuss the particular
Well, you've already
case.
discussed the person.
But perhaps you could all look at it with the attorney and see what it's costing you. Because I believe, I don't know, whatever his claim was, $186,000. You know, depending on the attorney fees going forward, what's that gonna cost? We are paying for it. It's taking away from the program budget. Additionally, you know, somebody got upset with the community for getting out of the board at the last meeting. You can't really, you guys make all the spending decisions, and people are upset because the spending decisions didn't go the way they hoped. So they're going to get upset with the board and all of you. So please, take that into account when you respond to them. The bus study. I heard last time somebody said that their school district had to begin earlier or later, whatever it was, to accommodate a less expensive cost. We've had 18 large buses for 15 years now. It's ridiculous, 126,000 a bus. Declines in enrollment, kids graduate, kids move. We could do a bus study, still. And the kids can stay on the bus 10 minutes longer, you can condense them. Get rid of maybe 2 or 3 buses. So they're on the bus a little longer. We don't have to change the start time, this is a small district. Please consider that, I don't know if you signed that contract yet, but there's no reason to spend that much money. I looked at these guys, look, okay, they have a longer distance, like 1 mile or whatever it is. So it's really hard to compare it because of the particulars, but they have more kids. And they're much larger geographically. So you could probably save money there. As for these slides, these are your documents that were posted online. This is our fund balance. Committed. Since you began, it's been depleted by over $8 million. That's frightening. I don't know how we will fund that. If we were asked to fund that this year, we'd have a 13% increase just that alone. Okay, this isn't big. We shouldn't be using fund balances for recurring expenses. I came to a meeting not long ago and I asked you all to take $1 million out and save the foreign language program. That was a bit sneaky of me, it was a test. Nobody told you we should do that. Nobody. And we shouldn't do that because it's a one-time money shot deal, and then we won't have it next year to fund foreign language. So we need to find other sources of revenue. We have to stop squinting these down because it's putting our district in jeopardy. Additionally, on the back of this are your other budget presentations from, I don't know, last 2 years or so. They're right here. I'm glad to show them to you. Ron can check them. These are what we show in the budget presentations. The budget book was ready at this time. I compared the 3 different components of your budget with the actual budget books, and they were wrong. The instructional program was $900,000 less than we told everybody 1 year. $122,000 more another year for the administrative budget. Also, one of your slides are misleading because you're not showing the one with your salaries for the administrators. If you show the year prior on there, it's over 500,000 additional in salaries. So it doesn't really show we're paying for that because that apparently all came out of these reserves. It had to, I don't know what went out to where it all went. I can sit there and look over every document, but that's not my job right now. Okay, so that needs to stop. We didn't have it before you were here. We didn't go down our reserves. I looked all the way back into when our budget failed in 2014. We did not deplete our reserves like this. To see our reserve balance at this point is scary. And the last audit was at June 30th, 2024. I'm sure you saw it. I think your firm last audited us in 2008. So you would know that that's incredibly low for us. Okay, so that's no good. That spending was no good, and that was everybody's fault, except I will take Desmond and Kathy, Mrs. Van Doren, out of that because they weren't here those years. But that needs to be watched. You can't spend over the amounts like that. And then we're stuck here. That's what led us here. Here is your spending compared to your revenue. Okay? You need to keep on track with your revenue. I know it stinks, but your program budget, comparison to your administrative budget, the growth, since you've been here, the administrative budget has increased 52% over the program budget. If you look at these, so right from your budgets each year, the two components. You can watch our program budget decrease and this go up your administrative, 52%. Prior to you, the administrative budget actually decreased over a 4-year period by 2.49% over the program budget. So that's what's happening with our programs. 52%. If you'd like this, I can email you a copy of the slide.
Yeah, we have to look into it. I can't see from here.
Yeah, I mean, these are your figures. And that's a lot for our administrative budget. I know what it includes. Also, our insurance, you can leave the reciprocal and go back. So you can leave that reciprocal. But I prepared it right in your budget book.
If you want to give that to us.
I'll email it.
Okay, thank you.
So that's what's happening. Whether you want to admit it or not, that's what's happening to our program budget, and it's a shame. Because I spent Easter Sunday with my nephews in East Islip, and it's incredible, the electives and other things they offer in the elementary school, in the high school, for those kids, and we can't. I mean, their enrollment's down too. I graduated from there, so I know.
All right, I just want to say, there's a very robust elementary program, middle school program, high school program.
And then high school.
Across the board, you'd say that we have an amazing program.
But the electives and what they offer the kids over there with their budget.
I also want to clarify, the administrative portion of the budget is not just administrators, it's a
I
whole
know
bunch of
what's in
other
it.
factors.
I know what's in it. I know the one on the budget. That's what I'm trying to look at. I asked her, it wasn't ready yet, so, but it should be, because you have this presentation, so when will that be ready?
The budget book?
Yeah.
Not
next week. Okay, I don't need all the state stuff that goes there, just line item budget. It's easier for me to look at than this, because these have been inaccurate. And I'll share it with you, you can check them all if you like.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you, and here's the list, by the way, of the raises. Salary adjustments you gave out.
Email it to us. Email it.
Thank you.
Well, I don't have it, so you can put it on, you gotta look at the one more time. I stopped when I got up to 300,000.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. My name is Jason Rowland. I'd like to just introduce myself and talk for a second. I have two elementary students at Cherry Avenue. And over the last couple of years, I've sat on their site-based team and oversaw a little bit what goes on over at Cherry. So I can speak specifically to Cherry. I know how much work Dr. Ryan puts into that school, and I know how much the kids appreciate everything that goes on there. In my time as a student, I've been through a lot of it. I know what it is to learn as a kid, right? And to come to school before, wake up early, practice, right? Come to school, learn about a spring concert, learn about a winter concert, learn about a musical solo, learn about all the things that you guys are doing, and then be here practicing until 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I know what goes into what you guys do, and to watch the passion that you guys have and coming up here and fighting for something that you believe in. My little two kids were here watching before, and just to see the smile on their faces listening to you guys, I hope that they grow up in a world where they can fight as well as you guys can fight. So, really, it's really something to be. Now, at the same time, there's a lot of decisions that have to get made, and I think everybody understands that. Nobody is jealous of the position that you're in. To make a little bit of a sports analogy, 20 minutes before this thing started, I was on the baseball field coaching a Little League game. And I was thinking about what I wanted to say here tonight when I came here. And I realized that, like in coaching, eventually you can have the best intentions and you can be really good at what you do, but you can lose a locker room. And when you lose in the locker room, it doesn't matter how good you are, what you're doing, it doesn't matter what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. Sometimes you just lost the locker room and it doesn't matter anymore. That all comes with trust from the community. And I think over the last couple of years, what we've seen here is a slow dwindling down of the community's trust in this board. I'm really excited to see that we're open to the idea of having a community board, a community interaction there to get on this budget committee. But I think what we need to really concentrate on is for the future, so that we're not sitting here 12 months from tonight with a new group of seniors and a new group of juniors to have them come up here and explain why they should be fighting for another teacher that's going to get cut next year. We know we have a revenue problem. We know we have a tax levy problem. What are we doing? Again, 50% of insurance over the last 2 years is astronomical. We know what we're facing with. So what are we doing going forward so that we're not going to sit here 12 months from tonight having the same discussions with a bunch of new students and have them fight for things that they're doing? I don't think any cuts are okay. I'm going to start off by saying that. But at the same time, these students, these are the people who really are the ones that we report to here. I report to my 2 kids, they run my household, they know it. These students here are the ones that we're responsible for, and if they're the ones standing up here telling you that what you're doing is not a fully supported solution to the budget, then I think we need to listen to them because they know best. So, fully supported or not, whether it looks like FTEs are met for what we can do and numbers are met on paper, this is not a fully supported student right here, so that should be talking about how it's going to impact them. They don't feel supported tonight, and they're not going to feel supported next year when that musical comes around. And that program that we're so proud of that does the things that we think that they're excelling is not going to be the same quality next year unless they have that teacher doing that with them and supporting them until 8, 9 o'clock at night here every night. So thank you guys for standing up and fighting for what you believe in. It means a lot to us.
I want to thank Maureen for her service. I'm here for the kids, nobody else.
Is that all?
I meant to say earlier, one other thing that the PTA Council does is I have the privilege of hosting the Meet the Candidates Night, and I know a number of our candidates are here tonight, but May 5th, you'll get a flyer soon. May 5th will be the opportunity to ask questions of the candidates for the new Board of Education positions. Thank you again for joining me.
I'm back. Back to the buses. I mean, Teal had a good point, and someone else made a good point. Maybe, and I'm sure it's too late, but if you could sign a 1-year contract and then explore other options or assign someone to do some like real due diligence research, talking to other districts, doing a bus study. Even if you could find a way to save a couple $100,000 over the $1 million increase or what, that's a teacher, that's a couple of teachers, you know, and so that just seems like a huge increase, and then to only have one RFP back and make a decision based on that, it doesn't seem like the soundest. I mean, and listen, I'm sure somebody made 1 million phone calls and called all the bus companies, but it might be worth it to do it again, or tell your existing bus company, we're only gonna sign a 1-year contract. I mean, my kids take the bus. I would let them stay in the bus an extra few minutes if it meant we save $200,000 a year or whatever it is. And so I think that we all know tough decisions to be made. We have to make a tiny sacrifice somewhere to save, you know, full-time teachers someplace else. I'm sure we'd all be willing to give a little bit. And I just feel like the bus contract is a big one to just say, okay, we're gonna sign this contract based on the one proposal we got. And that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, what was your name again? I know you spoke last time.
I did. I'm Christine Cesarino. I have 3 kids in the district.
Thank you.
I just wanted to respond to one of the points. We don't pay for like 18 buses as part of the contract. We pay a rate per bus. So we do study every year the routes and the locations and the students and the regions, and we try to reduce. So if we can do that and we say we only need 17, then we get 17. If we can get 16, we would get 16. So it's not like, oh, the contract is for 18 buses, and that's what we have to have. So if we can reduce, we did have a conversation 3 months ago about the small vans. Like we have vans going from Cherry to Sunrise, or from Lincoln area to Sunrise, or Lincoln, or Sunrise to Lincoln, depending on students who go to different schools for different reasons. Some of those vans had 4 students on them and they hold 15. So we said, how can we condense and put 8 kids or 9 kids on that van? And then it's a 10-minute longer ride, to what Teal had said, but at least we reduce a van. So the contract is per bus, per van. It's not the set amount. So if we can still study the routes and reduce, if that makes sense.
Definitely. It would just still be great for you guys to have numbers from other companies to compare to, you know, so it's hard. You guys are making a decision in an information vacuum because you only have the one quote to look at. So to lock in at 5 years, even if you lock in at 2 years, it's just 5 years seems like a long time.
The 5-year rate was a better rate than the 1-year rate. They give you a discount over time, so it's more cost effective to do the 5 years over the 1 year.
Right. I mean, I'm sure.
But I understand what your point is.
Right.
Can someone speak to?
I do have a question. Rhonda, do you know how many bus companies are in Suffolk County?
I don't. I know educational bus transport. There have been a few less over the last few years because they merged, went bankrupt.
But I only know of educational bus transportation and, of course, Suffolk Transportation.
And for students.
And again, it is a legal process. We follow a legal process. We have a sealed RFP. We did send it to 7 companies, I know. I mean, we transport, you know, some of them don't, you know, just don't pick our routes.
I'll take a guess, 10, 15, because I work in Nassau Boise, so we deal with a lot of bus companies. 10 is probably better. That's about probably the number one on Island. First is the largest, nationally, the largest bus company, I believe. But there's about a total of 10, I think. Educated guess.
Could we have, when we only got one RFP back, could we have altered the specs and resent it out? Could like, when we only got one RFP back, could we have like altered this, like we could alter the specs and then resend it out to see if others come back? Like, I know you can't resend out the same, but you could then, you know, change the specs to your proposal.
But
To see
our
if you would
specs are what we
cast like a
needed.
wider net.
Our specs are what we needed for our students, so, I mean, I suppose we could have sent it out again. I don't know if that would have changed anything, but.
If I remember correctly, and I know this is not going to be a popular thing to point out, but we were anticipating this because our last contract was before inflation went, you know, through the roof. And sometimes it's all in the timing. So it feels like this bus company is, raised its rate at this enormous amount, but the idea that some other bus company is going to give us a rate closer that we had 5 years ago is probably not.
Stop with the excuses, you didn't do the work.
They didn't do the work. That's the answer. They did not do the work.
You can't go on one. You thought we paid for child like we always do, that's the problem.
Hold on a second.
Stop.
Sorry.
Stop with the excuses.
Hi, my name is Jeff Schroeder. Can you tell me the savings on the 5-year contract with the bus company as in respect to the 1 year? I mean, is it a humongous discount or?
So in year 3, we would pay what we would pay in year 1 of a 1-year contract. So they in essence gave us 2 years of savings.
They give you 2 years at the same rate?
No, a lesser rate. So if we go to the 1-year contract, that would be the same rates we would pay if we the 3rd year of a 5-year contract.
Can you say that? Can you make it or sample? Something like that. Okay.
It just doesn't seem to me, it seems like all of a sudden we got a humongous increase on the fees for busing, and now it's, let's give you a 5-year contract for it. Why don't we look around a little bit further instead of committing to 9 years and find some better prices?
So the way it works is we put out a request for proposals, we send it to multiple companies, we follow up by asking them to provide bids.
7 companies?
I believe it was 6, 7, and one proposed, but it's a legal process, we have to open the envelope, we have to look at the bid, it was the only bid we received, so we can't make a decision to go with another company if they didn't put a bid in for the job.
How many times can you put a bid in to the companies or request for their response?
They have to respond.
I'm just asking because I'd like you to help me understand it, that's all. I don't mean to put you out, I'm just trying to ask you some questions.
So I think the way it works is you put out the request. It seems like we put out to 7, and then they have to respond and come back and say, okay, yeah, we'll take your business, and this is how much it's gonna cost you.
Okay, so we went and signed a 5-year contract, instead of saying, why don't we put this request out to 15? Right. We just went and said, we'll go with a 5-year contract at this higher rate.
Just to be clear, we put it out to anybody, we put it in the public notice, and then because we were worried about getting bids, we reached out to 7 companies to try to convince them to give the bid.
We sent the physical packet of what we needed to 7 companies, and we published it, because we're supposed to, in the paper, a legal advertisement, and we just got 1 reply. And we gave them a month's, I think it was a month's time to reply, because they're packets like this. I mean, they're buying.
So we thought 7 was an appropriate number, not?
It was who we know of, or who we deal with.
Okay.
So we made sure that was in their hands.
But you just said he was. Yeah. A board member said 10. But 7's good.
Correct.
No, they didn't want to continue. So give it to teachers instead. Yes, exactly.
Okay,
You suffer because you don't want to do 5 years. Again.
Okay, anybody else would like to speak?
Please don't cry.
Good evening, Amanda Mullen. I also would like to mirror everybody else in this room. I sat in this seat tonight in awe of these kids. We heard that you guys were coming to support your beloved teacher and your programs, and I just think you guys are outstanding. Your voices are not falling on deaf ears, no matter how much it may feel like that at times. We hear you, and guess what? We get to vote who makes these decisions next. And I think what happened in this room tonight is a lot of the community members really woke up and they realized that the people that they elect to put up there to make these decisions, their voices matter of who goes up there so that we can protect you. So stay loud, stay active in your communities and use your voice for good. You guys are incredible. I do have some very specific questions. I'm gonna start with, what is ZE Communications and why are we paying them?
What other questions do you have? Because I know they'll ask the question.
Oh, well, I'll wait for an answer and then I can move on.
No, give us your question.
Okay, so I'd like to know what ZE Communication is and why we're paying them. I'd also like to know what the other is in the contractual auditors, attorneys, postage, supplies, and other. And my last question is regarding the bathroom renovations. It's no secret, I am a Sayville grad. These bathrooms have not changed since I peed in them. I don't necessarily think it's fiscally responsible for us to be talking about bathroom renovations when we're also cutting teachers and programs that are attached to the. Is the only justification for that transfer of that $1 million into that fund year after year is bathrooms. How much are these golden bathrooms really costing us? And why is that a priority in a year where every cent matters in this district?
So I'll try to answer a couple of the questions. The issue with the bathrooms is that they are, as you said, so old that they can have problems. And if they have a problem, as did in the high school, there was an art bathroom near the art wing where a pipe burst. And because there's asbestos in the building, because of it's built in 1950 something, it cost us $170,000 to repair that pipe, just for that one. Like you would think it'd be much less, but because you have to abate and do all those things, it costs a lot of money. So if we don't upkeep those facilities that are in its end stages, we end up paying a lot more money for patches over time, and it actually hurts the district over time. So it's beneficial to maintain plant and to maintain your footprint, keep it from deteriorating. So those bathrooms and all of the bathrooms that were done, it's my understanding that projects were started were because they were at their end of life. And we want to not be in a situation where there's problems. In terms of the ZE vacations, there are many school districts on Long Island, BOCES, who use a PR firm for their picture taking, for their news articles, for a variety of website design, things of that nature.
Is that what we are using it for?
Yes. So we're using it for the suite of opportunities they provide for us, including if a newspaper calls, getting quotes, putting them out, and doing a good job getting our kids into the paper. As examples, in the last couple of months, we've been in News 12 quite a bit for things that we have always done, and in the past we've tried to get into News 12 and we don't get in because so having a communications group serves a variety of purposes. The other thing is, if you look at the chart, it costs $88,000. With BOCES aid, it becomes $44,000, and we were having an individual who was costing us $79,000. And no one person can do the job of a firm, and many districts do this. It's not unique to what we're doing to provide those kind of services.
Is it a necessary expenditure this year?
It's a net savings to have that as opposed to the person that we had on staff.
Because of the state aid, because if, just go to the chart, it's cheaper. But we had it in that special before.
But this is a school, why did we didn't
Right, so
PR?
I'm gonna just say that marketing and PR are what I do for a living. I work with actors and models who actually need PR. I'll do it for free.
Okay, there are functions.
You don't need to be spending money that you don't need to be spending.
Teacher, we're talking about PR.
And the other? Rhonda?
The line item budget, it's supplies, it's a catch-all, it's postage, you can see.
I mean, I do see the words that are listed.
Yes.
Auditors, attorneys, postage, supplies, and other.
Yes, and other. I don't know offhand what the and other, it's just, instead of a mirroring list of.
But when the budget book comes out, would they be able to look at that? Yeah, when the budget book
So we
comes out
can
next week,
see
you'll
what
be
the
able to see.
other is. Got it.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kara Kerwin. I'm here tonight because we spoke a lot about trust and transparency this evening. And I'm coming to speak about my frustrations and my peers' frustrations with working with all of you. Tonight I came to speak about armed guards, but probably not in the way that you expected me to speak, even though there was another shooting last week that people in the community were directly affected by. Before the last board meeting, armed guards for me meant security, safety, the well-being for our children, our teachers, our staff, and our community. After the last board meeting, armed guards stood for sneaky, deceitful, and disrespect. Tonight, I'm not here to advocate for armed guards because the threat to our community comes from the cuts that we're receiving. Tonight, I'm here to express and show how months of working with the Board of Education and the superintendent will fall on deaf ears. 6 months of board meetings, 700 signatures, community polls, community forums, showing the majority of the community wanted something, and yet here we were at the last meeting, went with a simple, armed guards aren't in the budget, with a grin. Perhaps your agenda was to keep us distracted from other concerns and issues within our district, or maybe it was just to keep us quiet. The town was manipulated against each other, strategically between the budget for the armed perimeter security, the same price tag as the assistant principal salary, which started the teachers before guns. Our armed guard movement was never to push to hire armed guard security over keeping staff and teachers. And now we're not getting either. But you knew that, and you knew what you were doing the whole time, and you sat there with a smile and you watched us all fall for it as we went to these forums and spent months speaking to you about our concerns about the safety and security of our children. But the town has woken up and people are upset, and it's a day and age where we're questioning our leaders, especially the ones that we put there. You were elected to represent our district, and I want to thank Kathy and Desmond for speaking on behalf of the community. So I want to say good luck to everybody fighting the fight for whatever you feel is important, but I feel that we've been met with false hope, lies, and smug faces. It's time to change. The Board of Election meeting is crucial. That's coming up. I urge everyone in this room to get involved, get your friends involved, get your neighbors involved. Our kids are counting on it, and thank you for the people in the community running.
Is there any other comments from the community? Because we need to move forward. Okay, thank you. Any comments from the board?
Okay, I would like to request a recess to have some discussion regarding a lot of the things we just heard before we vote on it. Okay, to discuss personnel.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a 5 to 10 minute break to discuss a personnel issue. Thank you.